Come on now. Let's get it on. This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. What's going on? It is Sunday Shout Out Day here in the big city. What is going on? What's up, Paulie? Checking in from Florida via Long Island. Shout out to winter weather in Florida. Also, shout out to James Drescher Murphy's Law coming to Florida next month. All right. What are the shout outs? I saw a good shout out. Yo, here's a good one. No shout out to Terry Garr for leaving Richard Dreyfuss in his time of need in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. All right. Terry Garr was hot in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I'm sorry. Terry Garr was bringing it. And Young Frankenstein, too. What's up, Joe Frank? What's up, D? What's up, Rick? Destruction by Definition was one of the first punk ska records I owned in 8th grade. Hold that thought. You know? What's up, Darren? Hope you're well. Marla, what's up? Roy Ramon, good. Gang's all here. More ska episodes. Okay. Any other requests, brother? Hey, Aaron in Bristol, England. Okay, cool. Laura Zeitlin, Jersey Shore represent. Come on now. Hey, Brian. Good. All right. Ratbone shouting out his Detroit people. All right. What's up with, wait, before I bring on Dude, I want to mention, you know what? Let's just bring Dude on.
What's up?
I know Dude is very busy.
Well, it's sort of Christmas in my family today.
Is it?
Because a bunch of us had COVID during Christmas, so we missed it.
Does that mean it's time for this again?
I think so. Yes. Yes, that's downstairs right now.
Listen, we're from different tribes. So there's a couple of items on here I'm not familiar with. Maybe you can identify them for me.
Okay.
12 o'clock all the way up top. What is that above the olives?
Artichoke. Yes.
Okay.
We got some peppers on the bottom there.
What and what is that feta cheese next to the olives?
There's a couple of different cheeses going on there, actually.
Okay. All right.
There's a cheddar, obviously.
A cheddar?
There's a cheddar.
A cheddar?
Yeah, there's a couple of different cheeses there. I'm not sure.
Lois Island says Jews eat artichokes. Yo, I'm Jewish and I don't eat artichokes.
Artichokes are great.
I also don't mess with those peppers, man.
The peppers are great, especially the spicy ones, like the hot ones, But speaking of shout outs, we're supposed to celebrate Christmas today because I had the Omicron and then my mom did. And then 10 minutes before we left today, I got a phone call saying my brother got it now. So,
hey, Lenny says shout out to Kevin Smith from Crazy Eddie Fahrenheit. He's got the COVID. See? Which you know what? Which just goes to show, the other day we postponed this show. I just felt like we're not like, what's the point of trying to do this right now? So if you didn't know, if you're living in your own private Idaho,
if you don't know, now you know.
Postponed. We got a couple of dates. Everything's going to be rescheduled. And this is just a mess, Just
take your vitamins.
Take your vitamins, That said, you know what I wanted to mention? A couple of upcoming shows. Schmoes.
A couple of upcoming schmoes.
The next 4 schmoes. Here, we could do these coming up on the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live this Wednesday, January 12th, Mr. Peter Leeds.
Nice.
Former manager of Blondie, The Runaways, Roberta Flack, and Judy Collins will be on the show. This is an OG right here. I'm going to go deep. And then a week from Wednesday, Gary G. Man Sullivan from the Cro-Mags will be on the show. Then, what's all these Wednesdays? Are we not doing Sundays anymore? Wednesday. Where the Sundays?
Huh.
Oh, we're skipping a Sunday.
Oh, because we had the show originally on Barry Electric.
Yeah. Rick Thorne, January 23rd. And then this is a new show, has not been announced on this show. Depends on where you're standing. Stephen Blush will be on the show. He wrote the book American Hardcore. He had Seconds Magazine. So
that's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
We got all these good ones, you know?
Hey, it's all good. It's all good in the hood. All right. Okay, here we go. Photo of the day. Wrong answers only, please. Boom. Figure that one out. Didn't know Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden has a sax player.
Yeah. Iron Maiden always finds its way into our shows.
I'd say. What do we got here? Anybody? What's up, Larry Kelly? Shouting out Larry Kelly.
Larry.
What's up in Sweden? Is it Run to the Altos? Run, that's good. Run to the Altos. Is it Bon Scott? Is it Lisa Simpson? Good one. Is it Pete Nice? All right. Is it Bill Clinton? Is it Kenny G?
Wow.
Is it for the dude that requested more ska shows? That's good.
Yes.
Is it Iron Ska Maiden? To run to the Oh shit. Is it Raven? Is it Pete Steele? Is it Devo? Whip it good. Dun 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 dun. Correct that whip. Is it David Sanborn? Boy, Laura, pretty funny, Laura. Welcome back to the show, Laura. You're funny now. All right. Don't try to be funny when you're not, all right? Why be funny? Why be funny? Why be funny when you're not? Speaking of Detroit, right? We're going to talk some negative approach today. I'm warning you. All right, here's another shot from that grouping. That grouping. Here you go.
Grouping.
Nice bass. What is that? Music Man? Is it Stan Getz?
He's really enjoying that note.
Ooh. Is it the Mighty Mighty Lost Tones? Is it Aldo Nova?
Oh my God.
That's kind of a win right there, Richmond Wilkes.
You're going way back.
You kind of win with, what was Aldo Nova's big hit?
Fantasy. Life is just a fantasy, yeah.
I thought it was, what was the other? I got it confused with the other one, Red Rider or something.
Oh, that was Lunatic Fringe.
Lunatic Fringe. I know you're out there.
That's golden age of MTV right there.
Is it Max Cavalera trying to work out how to play an instrument? Is it Dez? All right, here's another one from that grouping. All right, this one kind of gives it away, you know? I mean, here you go. Right answers only, please. Right answers only, please.
Well, we know it's 2009.
Ha! Is it Leonardo DiCaprio with a mullet? Doesn't look like a mullet to me, bro. Is it Goldfinger?
That's close, actually.
Kind of is. Right answers only, please. Is it Billy Bio?
He's got a little Billy Bio thing going on.
Is it Billy Bio, the Ska Years? Is it Ellen DeGeneres? Some good ones today.
That
Is
is
it
good.
Terry Hall? Is it less than Jake? Is it less than Jake? Is it less than Jake?
Boom. Big pack of dickheads.
Is it less than Jake for the 7th time? All right, tell us what this is.
Somebody there didn't like less than Jake, I think.
Okay.
It's less than Jake, actually. And Warped Tour 09. And this was a great this was actually, I believe this was like the tour with NoFX and Bad Religion and Nassau This is Nassau Coliseum parking lot. And I just felt this was good. I tried to kind of stay with, where we're at today with our guest and everything. And as soon as it's funny because as soon as I was doing it, I said, I saw the Maiden shirt. I'm like, well, this is perfect. We have to send this one in. So, but these guys are cool. Like, I mean, I've seen them a number of times in like festivals and things. And I'm not a huge ska guy. I like more punk with my ska, like Suicide Machines, like Rancid, stuff like that. But these guys are cool. And like I said, I have seen them a few times. And I'm not much, I don't have as much knowledge on them as I probably should, but they were cool. And they've put on a good show every time I've seen them. And I do like that blue Les Paul, or what looks like a Les Paul.
Vinny the drummer looking like a mountain man back there.
What does his shirt say? Protect.
I think it says protect. Oh, it says protect the human something. I don't know. Does the Coliseum still have shows?
You know what? I don't know. I mean, they just built the UBS Arena. So that's where the Islanders are going.
But the Coliseum's still there. I think
it's still there. I don't know what they're doing with it. I know they were having shows. I mean, they had a few shows before everything went down, but I haven't been to the Coliseum in quite some time.
Protect the human race. Apparently, that's what the shirt says.
Is that a good idea? But
listen, the Nassau Coliseum. I saw some great shows.
Oh my God! I mean, that's from my whole childhood. Like, going back to like 81, 82, like concerts there. And
yeah,
and I mean, that was our spot. That was Long Island's. It was either the Coliseum or you were going to the Garden.
I saw a lot of shows at the Garden. That was like, I grew, Manhattan.
Oh, so. For sure. Well, I mean, for you, that's like your Coliseum. Well, that's actually closer.
Well, I think the first concert, one of the first couple concerts I ever saw was at Madison Square Garden. I saw like the Outlaws and Molly Hatchet, and then I saw like the Marshall Tucker Band,
Southern Rock in full effect.
Yo, yeah, I saw a lot of that. I saw Yes and ELP and Jethro Tull at the Garden.
Look at you between the Southern Rock and the Prague. My first arena concert was the Kinks at the Coliseum, and I think that was either 79 or 80. I was like 9 or 10 years old, and my brother and I went, and that was classic. We're still big Kinks fans in my family, so.
No, I saw Molly Hatchet. It was Outlaws and Molly Hatchet. What you know about that?
Flirting with Disaster.
Yo.
Molly Hatchet's some of the best album covers ever.
Yo, the first 2 Molly Hatchet records are awesome. You know who produced those 2 Molly Hatchet records? The same guy that produced all the great Cheap Trick records. Tom Werman. And he produced a Motley Crue.
Oh, wow.
Yo, first 2 Molly Hatchet records are on point.
That's it. Next week's our Southern Rock episode.
Yo, I'll do a Southern Rock. I'll drop knowledge on Southern Rock, man.
That'd be fun. All the. Hey, Brian Baker was in Junkyard. That was very Southern Rocky kind of.
There you go. Laura Zeitlin knows. Yes, in the Round with Rick Wakeman. Loge. Yo,
was he wearing his cape?
Yo, he was like,
classic.
All right. Well, listen, I'll let you go and
Yeah, this is actually Christmas for my family today, so I'll wish everyone a second Merry Christmas. Hey, shout out, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Happy
Go ahead.
birthday. Happy birthday to some people. Happy birthday, Jimmy Page. Happy birthday to David Johansen, Rocky George from Suicidal.
Tell him
And
what's
happy
up, Rocky.
birthday to Matt Gray from Antidote NYHC.
Matt Gray's coming on the show in a little bit.
It's a big one for him today, so we won't say how old.
Listen, let's get something straight here. When the Buggles played with Yes, that record Drama, that's my favorite. I'm not a big Yes fan, but that one record they did with the guys from the Buggles, Drama, that's my favorite Yes record.
Well, you know, the Buggles is the very first video to play
Video
on MTV.
killed the radio star. Video killed the radio star in my mind. All right.
And on that note,
Hey, I'll drink to that. Hey, what are you drinking?
I have here a little Sam Adams Winter. Whoops.
All right, here you go. Here's mud in your eye.
Cheers.
I'm drinking grape Pedialyte.
You got to stay healthy.
All right, I'll talk to you in a bit. Well, there you have it. This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, and we are sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, DTFM Vinyl Distro, Chacho's Tacos, and since 1992, Generation Records has been a mainstay of the New York metropolitan area music scene. Today, they offer a diverse selection of new and used rock, jazz, indie, hip-hop, punk, hardcore, metal, blues, soundtrack, and reggae LPs, as well as T-shirts, posters, and other merchandise. They buy used record collections and music memorabilia and will pay you top dollar for them. House calls made. For large collections in the tri-state area, call or email generationrecords@gmail.com and follow them on Facebook or on Instagram. Come on now, New York Hardcore Comics. Opened in 2013, selling comic books, punk rock, and hardcore memorabilia, toys, statues, skateboard decks, vinyl, and all things horror. We love helping bands push their demos and new tracks, so please stop by and drop off your new music, even if you suck. We have in-store events like Magic the Gathering and Warhammer tournaments, plus meet and greets with bands and some live performances. Open 7 days a week and shipping worldwide. Find us online through Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and eBay, located at 117 Main Street in lovely Dobbs Ferry, New York. www.newyorkhardcorecomics.com. Last but not least, the Texas Silver Rush is a jewelry design firm and boutique store located in the birthplace of the Texas country music scene in Fredericksburg, Texas. Goddamn electric. They specialize in working with all music genres to design and create unique one-off pieces, as well as to style them for stage, album covers, promo photos, and social media exposure. Their client list includes Rock and Roll Hall of Famers Greg Rowley, Ringo Starr, and of course, my friends and yours, Agnostic Front. During this current, never-ending, horrific holocaust of a pandemic, all information and online sales are being taken on their Facebook and Instagram pages, and of course, www.thetexassilverrush.com. That said, let's bring our guest on. Let's make sure everything is copacetic. Go, Drew, go. Yep. Even if your music sucks, Lenny, apply there. The suckier, the better. Okay, so I was wearing my American Skinhead shirt today, and I got a death stare from some dude in my building. So sick of people that automatically think skinhead is racist. Hey, come move into my building, bro. My building's a friggin' circus, dude. The internet killed the radio star. Okay, here we go. Enough silliness. Let's clear the deck. Excited to bring our guest on. Get rid of all this chazarai. Here we go. Today's guest is an American singer-songwriter hailing from the Motor City of Detroit. He's known for his work with the bands Hellmouth, Break Anchor, Left in Ruin, Jay Navarro and the Traders, and for over 30 years, 7 studio albums, and numerous tours as the frontman for the punk ska band, the Suicide Machines. Please welcome, coming at us from Southfield in the Mitten State of Michigan, Mr. Jay Navarro. Brother.
Greetings.
What's happening, brother?
Drinking coffee, hanging out with you, man.
How's things in Detroit? Is it cold out there?
Nah, it's like 40. I'm about to go fire up one of my scooters and go for a ride.
You know, when we were talking, I was like, we were figuring out time difference, and it's just like, I guess I never really thought about it that like you guys are like on East Coast time, and yet when I think of Detroit, I don't think of the East Coast.
I mean, I don't know, man. It's weird because I play Chicago a lot.
Yeah.
Lose an hour, gain an hour. So going there's rad. Coming home at 5 a.m. is not. So the extra hour kills you.
You gotta leave extra early to make it to the gig.
Yeah. Most people around here will tell you the same bizarre like feeling it gives you when you're like, all right, pack up, let's go home tonight. And you're just like, oh man, I'm not coming home till sun up. That hour makes a difference somehow.
I always wonder about the people that live like right on the cusp. It's just like down the street, it's an hour less. Up the like, how does that work?
I don't know. No clue. I don't even know where the line is at, actually.
Yeah. It's got to exist. Joe Frank says, "What's up, Jay? Welcome." People are excited that you're here. Eric Holt says, "Jay is my favorite frontman ever." How about that?
Thank you, Lion. Thank you.
That's so. What's the latest, man? Since the pandemic hit, how have you been keeping busy? And I know this used to be a simple question because it was like a couple of months. Now it's like, hey, since the pandemic hit 2 years ago, what have you been doing?
Zombie apocalypse, as you say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't know, man. It was I'm kind of one of those people that fall under the whole I quit my job and never went back. People. I had a really good job, but it was night shift, and 15 years of the same job. I realized that it made me miserable, and after being furloughed for a few weeks, I was like, nah, I'm not going back. So,
was this your straight job that you had in between running out and screaming your brains out on stage?
Yeah. I'm not like I don't do my band for a living. You know what I mean? So,
you're not a career musician.
No, I mean I did for a while, and it just wasn't kind of hard when you start having kids. I started missing them. My eldest would cry when I leave.
Aww.
I mean, she probably couldn't care less now. She's 21, but you know what I mean?
Hear that. I hear that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I think we've toured a little bit. I mean, I've toured in Break Anchor, I've toured in the Traders, I've toured in the Machines, but like, a week or two tops. We don't go much longer than 2 weeks ever.
Now I got to mention, like, I happen to know that, like, when you mention your family, you're quite a proficient sort of family guy. You have what, 6 kids, 5 kids?
Yep. All my crusty punk friends call me a breeder. Is the
You're
word they use.
We've got a breeder in our midst.
Yeah, I don't think they want to. They think that having kids is awful. Most of my crusty friends. So yeah, I get that bad nickname from them, but out of love, tough love.
That's awesome, though, man. You have a huge family, and you're the patriarch.
I try.
So of course, yeah. So I don't blame you, man. About as far as playing music goes, I found that when we reformed a bunch of years ago and started playing music again, when we were doing it kind of as a hobby. At the time, when we reconvened years later, everybody kind of had jobs and wives and lives, and doing it again as a hobby and as a passion led to a lot of joy, as opposed to when we split apart in a haze of drug and alcohol and violence, in the early 90s, when it was like, we got to get the record contract, and it was like really stressed out and it sucked,
Yeah, I mean, I attribute that to like the last Machines record. I'm not gonna sit here and like pat myself on the back, but it came out so good. I think because all of us were like friends and enjoying it. You know what I mean? And when we were writing together, it showed. That we were doing something we loved, and it wasn't a necessity because it was it wasn't a job. So
yeah, absolutely. And I like what Lenny says. A lot of us have been on that path of career musician, then life gets in the way,
Yeah.
I mean,
and maybe it should. That's our destiny or our future. That's just the way. That's that's the path you have to take. I could have never made some of the albums I've made after, going back to work. You know what I mean?
Rick says that's the best suicide record since Destruction by Definition. So you're definitely ringing some bells.
Thank you.
That's cool. Hi from Cyprus. What's up in Cyprus? My kind of
Cypress
town.
Hill? Cypress Hill?
Cypress Hill or like Cyprus, Greece or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just watched Roman Holiday about 2 weeks ago.
So tell us, did you grow up in a musical household? Was music a part of your life? How did you come up?
Nah, man. So my mom listened to a lot of great stuff that I didn't realize it was. So to me, it was like my parents' music, right?
Right.
So
sure.
there'd be like MC5, The Stooges, Alice Cooper, Ted Nugent, Black Sabbath, all the.
And let me just say that you just mentioned all Detroit. You mentioned all Detroit artists, right? MC5, The Stooges, Nugent, right?
Yeah, my mom used to go hang out at the Grandy Ballroom, man. So, I'd hear the live version of Kick Out the Jams while they're all partying in the other room, and I'm stuck watching Old Yeller as a kid in my aunt's bedroom because the grown-ups are raging. Like, oh my God, he swore.
So did
no
you?
Music though. No one played. No instruments.
No instruments.
No. Nope.
But peripherally it was there.
Yeah. It was the only reason I got involved in anything is because I had a pretty broken family, and I'd get shipped off to one of my grandmas, either my grandma Consuela or my grandma Marianne. Because my parents are ragers. They like drugs and alcohol, and get rid of the kid. And my mom had me when she's young, and I think my grandma thought that she saw that I liked punk and music, and it was important to me. And she's like, "I'm going to go buy you an instrument. You want to play an instrument? I mean, you have to devote yourself to doing this. I'm going to go buy you something," because she probably thought, I don't see any way out for this kid not falling into a bad scene, So. Yeah. So she was cool enough to kind of open that door for me. The best part is my junkie dad fucking knew some sketchy ass people. It took me to get my first rig, and he took me to a really sketchy place. This dude had so much stolen stuff in his house and basement. He's like, I don't know what favor he owed my dad or what, but the guy was like, "What do you want?" And I was like, I found one of those old custom padded bass amps.
Yeah.
That, like, had the padded leather, and it was taller than me.
Custom with like yeah. You know who?
But to me, it was like, oh, that thing's taller than me. Can I take that one? And the guy was like, yeah.
You know who had something like that? Paris Mayhew from the Cro-Mags had something like that back in the day, because he lent it to us one gig, and it was like this tower. It was like a tower. It was like speaker. It was like this long, weird, like soft cabinet,
Yep. You could just totally padded. It was weird.
Yeah. And this is one of your shots, and skateboarding came into play pretty early on as well, right? Tell us about it.
Yeah. So like we moved to the city. Like my real dad is pretty abusive. My mom split. My family's originally from Detroit. Riots happened. They moved out. My mother got older, had me. My dad was abusive, so she split from him and came back to the city and lived with my aunt. So for Christmas, I got one of those little plastic, banana boards, and I was pushing around my neighborhood first and second grade, and that was it, man. Like I there's something about that thing that called to me insanely hard, man. That little piece of plastic that was a pile of junk. You know what I mean? Like that was it. That was the most important thing. I mean, dude, I attribute everything to skateboarding. Everything. Like who I am as a person, right down to like music. I never would be listening to half of the stuff if it wasn't for skateboarding or playing music.
And I love this. I think that this shot here sort of speaks volumes. I love it. It's like it's obviously the homemade, ramp, next to the house with the black flag and all that. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's my backyard. My backyard is about 9 foot to the fence from the back of our dilapidated house. I got really lucky. My parents somehow got a condemned home in a nice part of town. We got a condemned house in Livonia, which is like they wanted me to go to a good school. It was either that or I was going to end up going to Cody, which is like the first school to get a metal detector in the United States. So that's where I would have ended up going. So they found this house, and we stole all that wood from everywhere, and didn't even tell my parents we were going to build a ramp. And since it was this weird little backyard that I didn't have a yard, no one ever complained about it, and no city inspector ever came back there. So that pile of junk ramp sat there forever. Everything was stolen, totally nailed. None of it was screwed together. It was all nails. It was awful.
Can you get away? I mean, excuse my ignorance, but can you just build a skateboard ramp in like a big skateboard ramp in your backyard? And
no,
I know nothing about this. One of the guys in my band has a ramp in Long Island, but I never thought about that. You can't just be like, we're building a ramp.
No, there's all kinds of. Well, I mean, you can maybe sometimes you can get away with it for sure, right? Like if city inspector never catches you or no one complains about it, you can. But chances are they'll come in and just tell you built everything wrong. It's too close to the foundation of a house. You didn't set the 4x4s down into the ground into concrete a certain level, and they'll make you take it down. They'll just fine you until you take it down. But that house is so like looked over in that neighborhood, like it never. No one ever said anything about it. So that ramp was there forever.
And the portal of skateboarding sort of channeled you to a lot of this sort of hardcore punk music. What are some of the bands, obviously Black Flag, that came across your radar screen early on?
Well, the first thing I ever heard, it was like that movie Salt Lake City Punk, where the kid comes up and hands him a cassette.
Yeah.
And it's got, I can't remember what was on theirs, but like, I was a little dirtball, like probably 4th, 5th grade. I went from like Wham to like Iron Maiden and, Quiet Riot or who knows what. Right. And then in 6th grade, man, like we were little dirtballs pushing around on our crappy like Nash boards. At this point, you could buy Dunhams. And one of our dirtball friends as a BMXer like showed up like with a mohawk one day. We're like, what did you do to your hair, man? Cut like all your hair off. He's like, I'm punk now. We're like, what are you talking about? And he's like, took this cassette out of his boombox, and it was a black cassette written with the crappy silver marker, and it said Circle Jerks, and it had 4 bars on it, and it said Suicidal. And it was all 3 of the first records, or no, it was I can't remember which Black Flag record it was. I think it was Slip It In at that point, maybe. Slip It In, First Suicidal, and Group Sex all in one cassette. And me and my friend were just like,
yeah, Group Sex was big, man.
Huge.
Yeah. Group Sex was big, and the first Suicidal record came out a little bit later, but god damn, that record.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And then obviously like finding like Thrasher magazine.
Yeah.
Was pretty huge for me at the time. Oh man, I half want to grab it and show it to you if I can find it. Give me 1 second. Just hold that
go
thought.
Ahead. Hey, if you got it, go look for it, right? This is a show and tell kind of show.
All right.
Chad says taking time out from FYA 8 to say what's up, Drew. Hardcore lives in Florida. Well, thank you, Chad. Back to our normally scheduled programming.
So these
are
all the skate rock tapes.
Wow.
And as a kid, Thrasher magazine. So
what is skate rock tape? Is that a pre-recorded tape, or is that a mixtape? What is that?
All comps, man. Great. It wasn't all just punk either. You'd have like some hip hop and stuff like that later on.
Is this something you ordered through Thrasher?
Yeah.
Let me see. Hold them up again.
Hold on. Let me tell you, like, these are like my favorite
Yeah, this is
ones,
this is something new for me.
So this is Born to Skate.
Yeah.
And this had like SNFU on it, The Accused, The Stupids, Excel, The Humanizers.
Okay.
And like Septic Death, man. Like, and so coming from a metal background right off the bat, like the aggressive stuff spoke to me.
Yeah.
More than any of that stuff. So I was listening to like I love The Accused and all that kind of stuff. But I got super lucky, man, because Detroit had a super awesome like local punk scene. This is 86, 87 was like my first show. I kind of missed the boat on a lot of the good stuff, and well, I never went to like any arena rock shows or anything like that, man. I was lucky enough to have like, when I moved to Livonia, there's a whole gaggle of people skateboarding, and all the older punks would be like, "Come here, kid. You're going to the Greystone tonight. See, Agnostic Front and Murphy's Law." Like, no, they're skinheads. I'm not going. I'm gonna get beat up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but we had the older, like, everyone was cool. They'd always be like, "Bring the little kids. If we can fit them in a car, bring them." You know what I mean? And dude, there was no rules in Detroit, so I could be 13 years old, grab a pitcher of beer from the bar, and go see a show. So, like, my first shows were all local.
Did you ever? So you started going to shows as a young grommet, like 13, 14 years old.
Yep.
Did you ever see Rat Bones was in Detroit, right?
Oh yeah. Shout out Sunday. Like, that dude taught us how to dance in Detroit. Like, we'd be terrified. We wouldn't go in the pit when
you know what? You know what? Hold on. Let's bring him on.
All right.
Hey. What's up,
Hey, had to do the shout out Sunday.
All right, man. Laying down some homage, I see. Thank you, man. Much appreciated.
Yeah.
You were scaring Rat. You were scaring the kids back then.
We were pretty rough on people back then, but we protected the kids,
though, man.
We really
fight anyone unless it was outsiders, dude.
Absolutely, bro. I got a match on your cassettes, bro. I got the Almighty Lumberjacks of Death.
Yeah.
And then here's a Blondie's Detroit West Side band favorite, SBLC. They hung with the Coldest Life crew and Ron and all of us, man. Those are dear and treasured moments of my life. The Detroit era is like a solid era,
So check this out, man. After you took off out of the city, I took Johnny Lunchmeat's place in SBLC.
Wow, that's cool as shit.
Yeah, man, because I used to love watching him play bass,
I'm recognizing your face, like watching you talk and everything. So yeah, man, that's cool shit.
What was the venue where they had sort of like the local shows in Detroit back then?
Greystone and the Blondies. That's like I said, I kind of
is that one place, Greystone and the Blondies, or is that two places?
Some of the bigger bands, Drew, would play right downtown at a place called St. Andrew's Hall, and it had a punk club underneath called Shelter. And Agnostic Front played Todd's. Todd's was like a sway bar, like a weird bar, but the punk scene hung out in the pub. It was pretty nuts.
Yeah, actually, that's where I met Craig Satari, or Craig Ahead. At the time, Coldest Life, it was the One Voice tour. Coldest Life had me playing bass at that time, and I think Craig and I were like the two young kids, so it was kind of like, "Hey, dude, what's up? Hey, dude, what's up?" Because everyone else is like terrifying. You know what I mean? They're cool, but like, we're the two young guys. So it's kind of like, "Hey, dude, let's hang out." Like, I don't know if he remembers that, but yeah, One Voice, man, that tour at Todd's.
So you played bass in Coldest Life. Was that happening before you got the Suicide Machines happening, or?
No, that was like same time. I was in Coldest Life, I think 92. For only like a year, man. If that was right before Ron was murdered, he threw me out of the band.
Kind of in between Jay, Ray, and Jake, right?
Yeah. Jay Ray was in the band. Jeff West, Jeff G was on guitar, and Craig Holloway was in before me. And then I don't know what happened with Craig, but I became the next guy because I'd already played for SBLC at this point, and I worked with Ron at not Midwest Publishing, some phone call place I worked at. I can't remember what the name of it is anymore.
Yeah,
that all the punks were. What?
Steve Krass got us all the jobs.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, absolutely, man. I can't remember the name of it.
Bob, man. Fire Marshal Bob, bro. I remember that.
Yeah, but what was the name of that place? I can't even remember anymore.
I don't know, but we all worked there.
Yeah, it was a telephone scam place, Drew.
Oh, really?
First telemarketers. Yeah, we would act like we were cops and firemen trying to collect funds and stuff. It was so funny, man.
That's fucked up.
Coked out punks and stuff.
That's fucked up.
And then like on the side, like Dougie Toms would call like big boys and scam food, or call like Adidas and get shoes. Like he was the smoothest talker of them all.
That's funny. That's funny.
I can't remember the name of it though.
Good times out there.
It'll come up. Hey, Rat, we'll bring you back on in a bit, all right?
All right, bro. We'll see you guys in a bit.
So, all right, back to our regularly scheduled programming. So here you get this. Is this the first instrument you were referring to?
Yeah, and that's definitely from one of the first Suicide Machines practices, because a lot of people don't know.
Oh, right.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. No, somebody put boiler room, like when they're making phone calls. That's not the name of the place, but yeah, it's called a boiler room. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, that's the bass that my grandmother, like I said, my grandmother had bought me to try to keep me out of trouble. That was definitely in the Suicide Machines. I can tell from the crappy taped microphone and the fact that I had a nose piercing on the side of my nose. And I'm pretty sure that's a Social Distortion shirt. But the Machines were a 3-piece, and I had learned how to play bass by watching Johnny Lunchmeat from that band Ratbones was talking about, SBLC, because he was a ripper on bass. Like, it was all scales. And I wanted to play like that. And so when I started the Machines, I couldn't play like that and sing. So
now originally it was Jack Kevorkian and the Suicide Machines, right?
Correct.
How did you arrive at that name?
Oh, man, we're from Detroit. So is Jack Kevorkian, man. And,
right.
Suicide Machines is a Bruce Springsteen reference when he's talking about cars in the Motor City, too.
Oh, of course. Right.
So it kind of all went hand in hand, man. Like, we thought it was pretty cool.
All right. Little props for the boss.
Yeah, man. It's cool. It's like having the world's dorkiest ska band name without having the word ska in it somehow.
Right. That's great. So it starts as Jack Kevorkian and the Suicide Machines as a 3-piece, and you get rolling. And at what point did you sort of say, I can't sing and play bass? We gotta.
Yeah, man. Because I was trying to make really crazy, complicated bass lines. You know what I mean? Because in ska and reggae and rocksteady, the bass and the drums really, that is the foundation, especially for that style of music.
Right.
And I just couldn't hack the two at the same time because I'd never done it. You know what I mean? So, the funny part is I definitely and that's kind of where the hardcore influence comes in, because I was going to see hardcore shows.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was the kid who listened to like ska and stuff, but I saw Judge the first and only time when they first toured in Detroit. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So to me, it was like singers in the crowd with the people. You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't really see that as much actually at punk shows.
Right.
It was more of like seeing hardcore shows.
Sure. It's like sort of like that hardcore lifestyle, like hardcore ethos. That's like a hardcore thing,
Yeah. Dude, I saw a million punk bands back then. I saw a lot of stuff still that I didn't miss the boat on, like the Circle Jerks, and GBH and stuff like that, and DI. But to me, the hardcore bands that I would see were the ones that like made me want to like. It was Bon Scott from AC/DC and hardcore bands. Like, I wanted to be that.
Hey, I got to say, Bon Scott, I didn't get a grasp on Bon Scott initially, because when I came up first wave America, I went straight to like hardcore, and I was like a skinhead hardcore kid, and I was like all I had blinders on. It was like Minor Threat, SSD, Later on, I developed a deep appreciation for Bon Scott, and what a great front man he was.
Yeah. Don't ask me how I wanted to be that guy, seeing videos of him, but I did. There's something about that dude. You would see him and just be like, man, he's got a jean vest on with no shirt, wearing makeup, and he just thinks he is the shit, and he sounds rad. Like, it's just one of those things as a kid that you remember.
You know what sort of turned me to Bon Scott a little bit? I saw an interview where Michael Hutchence, the singer for NXS, said his favorite frontman of all time was Bon Scott. And it got me thinking, like, let me check this out. Not that I was like some NXS big fan, but I thought that was really interesting. So that I said, wow, you know, and it got me kind of circle back and got me going on it a little bit. I that always stuck with me, that, you know, a guy like that was like Bon Scott, greatest frontman that ever lived. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. You know?
Yeah, I agree. You know, we bugged, changing subjects, dude. We bugged out when NXS had skateboarders in their videos.
Yeah, right.
Like real skating. There's actual real skating. We're like, yeah, I was skating in this NXS video. What the hell?
Yo, NXS kind of came up proper a couple of times, man. Yeah. Yep. M. Tavar, how come you dropped the name Jack Kevorkian?
Well, one, we'd get sued.
Yeah.
You know, I actually called his lawyer because we were about to put out a split record with the Rudiments from the East Bay. And I just found this lawyer's thing in the Yellow Pages back then, because that's what you had. And I called him up and I was like, hey, I'm in this band called Jack Kevorkian and the Suicide Machines. He's like, yeah, I know. I was like, oh God. And I'm like, hey, we were going to put out a record and we were talking, it's cool we use the name. He's like, I suggest if you know what's, you know, right, you will not use his name. And I was just like, oh, okay, fuck you, and hung up the phone. And we put out the record anyways. But you know, there's also issues too. We played on like campuses a lot at the time, because
on what?
Like campuses.
College.
We'd go play like
college,
like downtown and like by U of M in Ann Arbor, or
to
Ypsilanti, and we would play sometimes in, you know, college buildings, and people would show up and think like Jack Kevorkian was, you know, it was only 3 or 4 or 5 people at a time would think Jack Kevorkian was speaking or something, and we're like, yo, he's in jail, like he's in jail. How's he gonna speak? You know, like. But, you know, so there's just a lot of reasons. We finally signed to Hollywood, and we were like, yeah, we should probably just drop the name. I mean, to be honest with you, it's a dorky name anyways. You
know, I got to ask, reggae ska influences for you personally? Because, man, you know, I did my homework. I listened to a lot of your music and just kept thinking, like, what early reggae or ska really influenced you? Maybe
I could pinpoint the exact moment that I liked ska and didn't know that I would eventually play it.
Right.
As a kid, the first album or tape cassette that I ever bought was Blondie Auto American.
Is that right?
They did a cover of The Tide Is High.
Yeah.
And that was like what, I think like 4th grade when I bought it. You know, because I was hearing like, you know, at one point my aunt got cable, so I got to hear like Devo and crap like that, right? But I didn't really know. So as far as ska, it was definitely like hearing The Tide Is High by Blondie, and it just stuck with me years later. And I started finding stuff like the Bad Brains. Obviously, they're playing reggae, of course, like huge influence. Like hearing the Bad Brains play reggae, and you know, I found Fishbone and the Specials, you know, the usual. But like really, Blondie, that cover they did was the first moment. Selector's awesome. You know, and we heard like Mirror in the Bathroom on, you know, on and the radio back then, or MTV, who didn't, like by the English Beat and stuff. But like legitimately hearing a cover by Blondie was it. And that's funny, you got their manager coming on. I saw that or whatever.
Yeah, I have I have Peter Leeds coming on, and
cool.
Here he is. And this is going to be really an interesting show. He managed Blondie during their heyday, like, you know, Auto American, Parallel Lines. Like he was there in the heyday, and it's going to be an interesting show. He's like, you know, the rare old school rock and roll, like, you know, assassin manager, you know, really. So this is good. I'm looking forward to this. I'm very close with his son. His son was Philip Leeds, who was the best man at my wedding. He's one of my best friends. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really get like starstruck about anything. Like it's not like, you know, you were from where we're from, and kind of none of that stuff means much of anything to most people. And I remember we played the Roseland with No Doubt.
Oh wow!
And it's like, yo, Deborah Harry's here. I'm like, no, she's not, dude.
Yeah,
like, no, she is. And I'm like, yeah, well, she's here to watch No Doubt, so whatever. And you know how if you look out off the stage, there's that weird little kind of VIP area to the left that was like a little round stage that kind of stuck out?
Yes, of course.
That little lift.
Yeah,
dude,
of course.
we're playing and Deborah Harry's watching us, and I'm like, oh my god, Deborah Harry's
well, do you know that back in the day that was the grandstand? That's where the bands played.
Way.
Yeah. In the history of Roseland,
that's cool.
That was like the old school big band grandstand. When they started doing shows in there, they built the stage, farther down, and that kind of became the VIP area,
Yeah, I bugged out though. I was like, dude, Deborah Harry's actually watching us. All right, cool.
She gets around.
It's cool.
It's cool. Yeah. So, you guys did 2 demos, the Essential Kevorkian and Green World in 94. Did these 2 demos. Did you release them as demos? Were they printed, or you released them as demos?
Yeah, I actually have them over in a bin. I like this. My mom passed away, and as much as we didn't get along, I found this bin in her house and we were cleaning it out, and she actually kept our demos. I have them, but we that was, 90. It's still the early 90s, and so to us, like, yeah, the first one was a demo, but the second one's like a record, even though it was only on cassette. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? But we didn't have any money to make a CD because CDs are just now starting to come out.
Yeah.
So it's just out of your grasp to like be able to make a record or make a CD. So we put out a cassette, like as an album. We didn't know. We just didn't know what the fuck we're doing still.
And did that? I know a year after Green World, you signed with Hollywood Records. How did that come about? What was that process in Detroit? Signed, and you were at Hollywood for a couple years. Like, how did that shake out?
Well, so when I was trying to get our name cleared that one time, it was for a split 12-inch or a split at the time, a split CD and cassette, because I don't think the guy wanted to do, vinyl at the time, because vinyl was dead. And dude, we had toured a bunch, man. We dude, we went out to the West Coast and back, played like Gilman and all that stuff.
Sure.
And then we did a split with the Rudiments from East Bay, Oakland or Berkeley folks, and put that record out. And Julian Raymond, we'd been approached by some people because everyone was trying to pick up any cool punk band at the time. Because, I don't know, like it was probably 94, 95 at this point. We toured
as the Green Day thing was blowing up, and I was around for that. Yeah. Everyone was
a ton.
Yeah.
And we'd already toured. We did the DIY thing. It's, playing, how it was. Like it is what it is. Played basements and squats and sometimes bars. And this dude, Julian, was walking by someone's cubicle at Hollywood Records, and they're playing our split with the Rudiments. And he was like, yo, what is this? And I don't know how the hell he liked that record at all, because it's terrible. But he was like, what is it? And they're like, Suicide Machines. Here, look. And he just handed the dude the record. And back then you would put your phone number on the inside of the record, right? Or your address.
Yeah, like just right there in pen, Well,
at the time we were practicing at our guitar player's mom and dad's house in Redford.
Wow. And
so their number was on there, and just like a few other people, he had called us and was like, hey, I'm from this record label. I want to
Johnny, it's for you.
Right? Yeah, totally, man. Like
it's like right out of like every friggin' movie you see, like who's this? Hey Joey, stop fucking around.
Yeah, man.
Right.
And at this point we had already had bad experiences kind of talking to a few people. We kind of thought like, oh yeah, so this is the sleazy record industry, kind of, and the dude was really persistent. He's like, I want to come see you play. And we're like, dude, look, man, we don't have any shows. We're not booking any shows in Detroit because we have this tour coming up at Bucko 9 for 6.5 weeks in the States. So we're chilling. And he's like, well, I'm going to fly out and see you practice. We're just like, what are you talking about? Like, so yeah, we're going to come see you practice. We're like, dude, we practice at our guitar player's mom's house. Like, what are you going to do? Dude flies out, shows up.
Who is this?
Julian Raymond.
He was an A&R guy at Hollywood Records.
Yeah, man, he's big. He's won Grammys for like, working with Glenn Campbell and stuff like that. Dude, he's a really good friend of shout out, your man from Murphy's Law, Todd.
Oh yeah,
guitar player. He was Julian's right-hand man when it comes to guitar tech. And
is that right?
So maybe you guys have somehow run in that circle together. I know he was pretty upset when he had passed away.
Yeah, a lot of us were. That one's still, I'll never really get over that one, man.
Yeah, man. So those guys are pretty close, man. Like those dudes knew each other pretty well.
Mm.
He was definitely like Julian's right-hand guy for like doing like some stuff. Like if you ever heard he would go out to Nashville or work with Glenn Campbell.
Oh yeah, of course.
That was Julian, man.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we always wondered like, how did Todd Youth get hooked up with Glenn Campbell?
Dude, I have no because of Julian. I have no idea. I think so Julian was really good friends with the whole Degeneration crew.
Oh yeah, Jesse Malin and Howie Pyro and Danny and all them. Yeah,
I think, this is like speculating wildly, but I think that might be the connection, but I don't know.
Okay.
So long story short, dude shows up at our house.
Hey, but let me just say that like that's what A&R guys got to do, right? It's not about yeah.
You know, and I've explained it a million times. And when anyone asks about me, I felt like I was like a goldfish in a fishbowl, and this dude's just watching us. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Was it weird? Was it to set the stage? Was it like really like weird? Like he shows up like ding dong, like
comes into the basement and sits down in the 1970s chair that's been sitting in the basement because they don't want it upstairs anymore in the living room. You know, and there's like a pillar in the middle of the basement. I remember feeling so uncomfortable. I was like, all right, well, I'm just gonna sing behind this pillar. So I don't have to look at this dude. Like this is weird. And he was like, I really liked it. I'm gonna come see you guys play when you're on tour. And we're like, yeah, cool, whatever. And we just kind of left it at that. Thought he would never come out. And lo and behold, he flew.
Was it that you guys were young and sort of didn't really grasp like this is like a real A&R dude that's flying out here like this? Or was it just youthful exuberance, or was it just like we've heard enough
I think it was just not giving a fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I can't explain it, man. I can't explain it.
You can explain. I'm a skater dude that's into hardcore and I don't give a fuck.
I'm still playing in basements occasionally. Quite a bit.
Yeah. Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You don't ever think about stuff like that until it happens. Yeah. Dude flies out to Baltimore, shows up. You know, we play to 6 people. Matter of fact, we had a falling out with the club. So the roadie at the time, a good friend of mine and us, we like took shits and hit them all over the club by like throwing them in ashtrays and throwing them under rugs. Our bass player just shits on the stage. Right. Like this is in front of the A&R guy and his wife and 6 other people that came to the show because we had it's a long story as to why there was a big problem with the club that night. And it was pretty bad situation. They didn't pay us. They didn't promote the show. No one knew about it. I'm sure you know well. You know, we're wild, stupid kids. We're just like, well, fuck this place. You know what I mean? And we did it all in front of this guy. And he was just like, you guys, I'm signing you guys. We're just like, we thought for sure the dude was like, yeah, I'm out of here. I'm not talking to these guys ever again. They're fucking pooping and hiding it. Like, what the fuck's wrong with these dudes?
Hey, man. Hey, that punk. Hey man, that punk rock stuff is in, man.
Yeah, I guess the Green Day.
I love you guys.
Whatever.
Wow, that's funny.
Yeah, and at the time it was really cool because we'd gotten our van broken into in Georgia. We lost a nice guitar, Rickenbacker. Lost all of our money because all our money was in our drummer's clothes bag. Took all his clothes. We had a smashed out window, for weeks. We get there and he's like, I'm going to put you up in a nice hotel, take you out to dinner. I'm buying you clothes because you have no clothes. He's like, you're going to fly out to Hollywood and you're going to cut 4 songs. We're going to play it for these other suit and tie guys. And you know what? If they don't want to sign you, I'll sneak out the tapes and you can have them. And you got a cool 7-inch. And we're like, oh, hell yeah. 7-inch recording done. We'll do it. And he seemed like a man of his word. So we're like, he probably will steal the tapes. And in the end, I'm still friends with him this day. He definitely is the type of guy that would have stole the tapes.
So he flies you out there, and who did he produce it, or did he throw you in there with somebody?
No, man, he produced it. He produced it, man. I owe a lot to him. He kind of like, I was starting to come into my own like singing and stuff, but he really kind of taught us really how to construct better songs and me to sing in key, obviously, even better.
That's awesome.
He was really definitely a mentor in the end and a friend, It's cool. Not many people can say that about their experience with a major. Like, I still talk to him to this day, man. He's a homie for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, like you said, that's not always the case, So you end up getting signed to Hollywood, and you do Destruction by Definition, which for a lot of people is the quintessential, record for you guys. Any memories of recording that thing? Did it feel good at the time? Did it feel special, or?
We were just drunk. We were drinking a lot of 40s and stuff like that, and I remember we like walked into the studio, and it was really nice. It was the A&M, or
yes, of course, A&M.
And then it became Henson Studios or whatever.
Oh yeah, A&M on La Brea, across from Crazy Girls. Yeah, I was there with Biohazard. Biohazard recorded State of the World address there. Yeah, I know it. I know it well. That is. I don't want to say that's the big time, but that's got a pretty big time feel to it,
Shout out to Danny from Biohazard, because that dude is an insane drummer. I know he's your homie, but dude, what a good drummer.
That's my dude.
Woo.
Yeah.
Beast on drums.
Yeah, he's a great.
Girls is the name of the strip bar across the street.
Oh right, girl. Yeah. Girls.
Never went in.
Oh, we went in a lot. We lived over there, man.
I never went in, but so we roll up in there. Benzig's recording there at the time, and then we walk in the room, and like the engineer is like, "Oh, this is where U2 recorded Rattle and Hum," and I'm just like, I don't care who recorded. This means nothing to me, man. Like, I really don't. Like, I'm not trying to be cool, but I don't ever listen to Rattle and Hum. I don't know. I don't care.
Yeah.
So I would go in, do my thing, and go out to the bar at night, and come back and do whatever I needed to do, and we did the 4 songs, and it's weird to be in California at the time because it was like right around Christmas. And me being a Detroit kid, it was like, this is not Christmas. There's no snow. There's no cold.
Sure.
I saw a Christmas parade down in Hollywood, and I was just like, dude, this is bizarre.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, it's like Christmas in Florida. It's weird.
Bizarre, man. And we went home, and called us back and said, like, those people really liked it, and they want to sign us. And then it got scary, I guess. And I was like looking at contracts that are like this thick, and you're like, what am I doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. Hey, let's take a break. Let me shout out some sponsors, and let's come back and let's bring our friend Matt Gray on. It's his birthday today, and I know he was on the Warped Tour with you. You guys go back a little bit, so if you gotta go do something, go do something. I'll see you in a couple minutes.
All right.
All right. What's happening, everybody? Everybody, what's happening? This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, and we are sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, DTFM Vinyl Distro, Generation Records, and located in lovely Corpus Christi, Texas, Chacho's Tacos opened the doors in 2001, home of the almighty Chacho's Taco. They cook up an incredible home-style Tex-Mex food, and this month they're celebrating their 20th anniversary. They've been supporting underground music since the beginning, and in their own words, we ain't stopping anytime soon. Touring bands that play Corpus Christi, swing by and get a home-cooked meal at Chacho's Tacos. We got you. The underground scene will never die. Please follow us on Facebook or on Instagram. DTFM Vinyl Distro is a record store that specializes in underground music, punk, ska, hardcore metal, and more. Located in the heart of Fargo, North Dakota's industrial district, shop in person or online at www.dtfmvinyldistro.com, or the motto is death to false metal. Hey, I want to mention to you, you may not know this. Let me inform you that this right here, the New York Hardcore Chronicles Volume 1, 1980 to 1989. This is the second printing, and there are not a lot of these left. This is going to sell out as well. I did not think the second printing was going to sell out. It didn't sell out in 3 days like the first printing, but there's not a lot left. Will not be selling them too much longer. So make your move. If you want one of these books, they're all numbered. They're all numbered. I sign them. So there it is at www.stonefilmsnyc.com. Buy the book, support the show. Also, you can support the show. There is a Patreon page. Patreon is our community within the community. We do private Patreon shows and all kinds of stuff. Please support the show. Want to shout out a couple of new patrons, Marla Standing Owl, Durand Hayes, and Mary Ohm. Thank you all. Also, you know what? I want to shout out all these Facebook pages that support this show and allow me to post on their page that the show is going on. So there's too many of them to mention, but I do appreciate everybody out there that has a Facebook page, that's a moderator or whatever, and you let me post on the page to push the show. Thank you for your support. Yeah, there it is. It's at www.stonefilmsnyc.com. Yes, flyer art. Get the book. It's great. That's all I have to say. There you go. It's a pleasure hearing my teenage hero at New York Hardcore Chronicles. Well, thank you for stopping by, M. Tavares. Yes, of course. Of course. Yeah, I post on the Lemoore page. There's a list. I have a list of like 60 Facebook pages. It's what I do, man. You know, when it's a show day, I'm up at 6 a.m. The first hour I spend awake is posting on friggin' Facebook pages. You know? Brutal. The next 4 shows, starting with Wednesday, February 2nd, the Weiss Man, photographer Mark Weiss, is going to be on the show. And then a couple days after that, iconic photographer Ed Culver, who shot the Black Flag Damage record, TSOL, Dance With Me, Bad Religion, Circle Jerks, Group Sex, once again, pops up. Sunday, February 13th, my homegirl, Doro Pesh, is going to be on the show. We're going to talk some metal. Sunday, February 20th, Mike Granari from Madball will be on. So a lot of cool shows coming up. Doro's coming on the show. Woohoo! One more show I want to announce. The Castle Heights reunion with Kevin Castle Scandato. This is a little bit ways in the future. This is February 27th, the 20-year reunion. Kevin Castle Scandato. A bunch of guests will be marching through the show. So there you go on that. I think that covers a lot. Rick, love the melodic hardcore punk shows, Drew. Smalley, Baker, Jay, Albarill, etc. Oh, thank you. Remember Elmira? Elmira? Am I missing something? Elmira? Elvira? Drew, you got to reach out to the Onyx guys. You know, I should. I've yet to reach out to those guys. That's a crew I haven't reached out to, you know. So, oh, Chris, glad you got the book, buddy. I remember signing it for you. Good. All right. That said, yeah, others. Let's bring back on our guest, Mr. Jay Navarro. There you go, buddy. Let's bring on a friend of ours. Today's his 50th birthday, Mr. Matt Gray.
Happy birthday!
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
What's
Pretty
up, Matt?
exciting, you know. Big 5-0, man. You know.
People
I wanted to
think
come say hello to Jay. You know, so
people think you're in your 20s, bro.
I'll take it.
You look pretty good,
Thank you.
I had someone say to me,
Jay,
"How old is?" Somebody said to me, "How old's that kid that plays drums in your band?" I'm like, he's almost 50. Yeah.
My insides are different, but you know, hey, that's where I'm at.
Good. You know what? Let's see. We could go 2 ways. Let's do T-shirt first, Matt, and then we'll talk about some common ground with you and Jay. What do you got?
Cool. All right. So Jay will obviously appreciate this. So we did a tour with Suicide Machines with my old band Bigwig, and I have the laminate over there. I think it was 2001. So on that tour, you guys had this pretty badass shirt.
That's
and
cool.
then on the back, the McFucked. But I gave it to my wife, and she ripped it all up. So this is my wife Becky's her shirt. So she said this is her shirt, I thought it was mine, but here we go. Another Suicide Machines. And maybe Jay can say, I don't remember what year. Any input on these?
Yeah, man.
At all, Jay? I can't remember years.
So I made that McFuck shirt actually in Kinko's by cutting up the one you have in your hand, and I had a Nike ripoff too that looks similar. On. But the shirt that you're holding in your hand, man, dude, you may have gotten. So do you remember? I don't know if you were in Bigwig at the time. We played a hall show that Tom booked out in the woods, out by his crib,
right?
And it was Strung Out, Diesel Boy, Bigwig and the Machines, maybe.
I was not in the band then, but I know the show that you're talking about. I came in after that, but yeah.
You must have come in right after that, because that's the era of that shirt.
Okay, got ya. Maybe I took from one of the guys. I don't know.
It's an old shirt, man. The burgundy one, old.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe, I didn't play that show, but I remember I'm always talking about that show that you guys did together. So I wasn't in a band then. Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, we played here and there with you cats too, and I'm trying to. I don't know. You have to resort to your journals. I'm not really sure.
Right.
Didn't you guys play the Asbury Park Warp Tour? Maybe.
Yeah.
In like
we did.
96, 97.
We did 97, and speaking of Less Than Jake, I was pretty excited because I'm a fan of Less Than Jake. They're a very hard-working band, you know what I mean? And Roger threw down his bass, and he's like, everybody go see Bigwig. So luckily, a lot of people came, and we were on a side stage, and there was a couple thousand people, and Roger was a pit, circle pit, and everything like that. So it was pretty cool, you know?
Yeah, was this right around the time I think Tom was wanted by the police in that area, and he had to split really quick?
I totally forgot about that story. This show's about you, but yeah, I'll tell a quick story. So
yeah, go ahead.
Good memory, Jay. So we were playing a show before we went on. Before we played the show, Tom had dreadlocks. So I guess one of the cops came up to him and they're like, "Hey, you got marijuana? You got weed?" Tom's like, "No, man, leave me the fuck alone. I'm about to get up and play." So on stage, he said, Asbury Park Narcotics Police Squad can suck my dick. So when he got off stage, a whole bunch of cops, they grabbed John Costello. They grabbed our bass player. If you don't find your singer right now, you're getting arrested. And they arrested him, and I forgot all about that. Holy shit, yeah. He got arrested that day.
I remember after the set being like, Tom, it's good to see you, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, dude, I got to go.
Yeah, he took off. He went to the van, and I don't know. I think he probably turned himself, I guess. I can't remember. So, but yeah, that was 97 Warp Tour, 96.
Something like that. So right around that time. Yeah.
Sorry,
right around the time, that's maybe when you got the shirt as well. It could have been.
Okay, got ya. Right on. Good stuff.
Back then, you would keep the same shirt for years.
Hence, that's why I still have them.
But you wouldn't make like new designs either. You know what I mean? Like it'd be like, same 3 shirts we've had for 3 years. Here you go.
Is that a Smalls Bar shirt you're wearing?
Oh yeah, the Depeche Mode ripoff.
Let me see. Nice.
Yeah, it's like that's our end up dive bar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, not a dive bar, but it's like it's where like we all go. So
yeah,
Detroit had some great venues,
Vinny Doak says Jay Navarro wearing a Smalls Bar shirt, Detroit, baby. There you go. So
Detroit had great venues, that's for sure.
Yeah. Dude, you wearing the Fast Time shirt. I mean, I'd say that's the shirt of the day.
Fast Times at Richmond High.
Yeah.
Nobody's got more T-shirts than Matt Gray. Matt Gray's got
I found a tub of like 50 to 75 more shirts today. Oh, Jay, I have well over 300 punk, hardcore T-shirts. Like, not even an exaggeration. I have everything.
eBay.
I collect. Yep. No,
I have nothing, and I don't want anything. I give it all to Matt. Matt, do you remember when I opened my truck and said, "You want any of these this summer?" I was like, "Yo,
grabbed a bunch of them.
I'm giving all these T-shirts to Rat Bones. Take your pick."
Yeah. Sorry, Rat Bones. I had first pick.
There you go. All right, Matt. Well, have a happy birthday, brother. I love you, man.
Awesome. Jay,
Happy
you
50th,
are,
man.
thanks, brother. You are one of the best front man. And I agree with whoever said that before. So,
Lion, thank you, man. I'm glad you were born. Happy 50th.
Yeah. Thanks,
Do you
man.
want to
You're
shout?
all
Want to
heart.
shout
Love you,
anybody
brother.
out, Matt Gray? Matt Gray. Who do you want to shout out on your birthday, Matt Gray?
My parents? I don't know. Who, you guys, my wife, Anakin,
Oh God, Matt Gray.
Thank you.
Happy Larry Kelly says happy birthday, man.
Thanks, brother.
All right, Matt. I'll see you at rehearsal in a couple of days.
Absolutely. Jay, hopefully I'll see you out there sometime.
Hell yeah.
Take care.
Be well, brother.
Good dude.
Yeah, solid, man.
Yeah.
We were on tour together. My kid was beating on his drums outside, not outside, but inside the venue, and he gave drumsticks to like my eldest daughter now. Like back then, because my mother-in-law lived in Indianapolis, so my wife would bring the kids down to India when we'd play on tour just to hang out, so we could see each other once every couple months because we'd be touring so much.
Hold on. Did the Warped Tour you played the Warped Tour 2 or 3 times, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Any feeling, any vibe on the Warped Tour? What was it good for you? Enjoyable? Anything in retrospect?
Well,
good, bad, indifferent.
The food was terrible. But you know what, man? Like I had a good time. You know what I mean? And I didn't see any horrible stuff going down that a lot of people talk about. Like I never saw anything like that. It was usually just punk bands hanging out with each other at the end of the night, drinking beer, shooting dice, and barbecuing, and I saw a couple fights here and there, but I mean, it was always just a good vibe, man. I don't know, man. But I also toured the very early years. You know what I mean? I remember playing like on the West Coast, and it'd be like the Deftones and NoFX and Fishbone and like I don't know, Snapcase. I can't remember who was all in what year at this point, but like
I would think
the
those
lineups
are
were phenomenal.
Big shows, man.
Yeah,
right?
man. The lineups were ridiculous back then. They were so fun and enjoyable. Like I get bored, I go watch, Rollcron Review or Hepcat because
Hepcat, that's cool.
Yeah, for sure. Like one of the greatest bands of all time. And, I watch them almost every day. Ridiculous. So, I don't nothing bad. I have nothing but love for like being on that thing. At least when I was there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That makes sense. Was it? I mean, it must have been helpful. Getting the band out there.
Oh yeah, dude. It was just fun, man. Like I made a lot of like lifelong friends, and then there was like fun nights where we like. Remember we kicked in the MTV Clubhouse's doors where they had all the jet skis stored. Everyone stole the jet skis, dragged them across the sand, and put gas in them, and went out on the Gulf in the middle of the night, wasted. You know what I mean? From like their beach house or whatever it was. So there's all kinds of mayhem like that, But it was fun.
Yeah. Thoughts on battle hymns? I mean, this is another. I mean, any memories recording it? It seems
yeah, man. This is easy. Like, so this goes back to like we did that record, Destruction. It was really pretty well received.
Yeah,
and we were broke still, like completely broke. And we're like, well, they're gonna.
Oh, wait a second. You were on a. Hold on, actually, let me put it up. Wait a second. You were on a major label and you sold a bunch of records and you were broke.
Surprise.
Yeah, there you go. Right, the first one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So, we were like, well, they're going to give us whatever $250,000 to record this next record, and we're like, yeah, okay. So we wrote the whole record in only a couple weeks at home, like 3 weeks, because we were on tour so much. We had no songs. And we had the date booked for the studio, and we're like, well, dude, this is going to make kind of like a hardcore record. So we wrote all the songs in 2 or 3 weeks, went out there, recorded everything in only a couple days, and pocketed all the money.
Woo.
And they were just like, what? What is this? You're done? Like, yeah, we're done. Give us all the leftover money. We're like, what? And they're like, there's like one song they could push to radio, maybe. And then we split, dude. Like, just took money, went home, and they didn't know what to do, and they didn't make us re-record another record or anything. Like, we didn't hire like a pretty good mixer, but like at the time we were just kind of like, yeah, no, forget it. We're just gonna do it this way. And so that record is more inspired by like, being at home in Detroit, like bands like Negative Approach and stuff like that, you know, growing up, like the State and the Fix from Lansing and stuff like that, you know, that was definitely inspired this record a ton. But it was also like, hey, we're going to walk home with some money so we can actually pay our rent and stuff, you know.
But isn't it safe to say that this record pretty much did as well as the first record?
I don't think so, but it ended up doing better than you would think. A pretty raw ska meets hardcore album would do. It did pretty good. But, you know, to a major label, you know, selling like 77 or 100,000, it was something like 77 or 76,000 to 100,000 in only the first week or two, to them is a failure. To us, it's like, whoa, that's crazy.
You're right. Right. Amazing.
Yeah,
right.
yeah, dude, that's nuts. Like, and they're like, no, failure.
But you guys lasted on Hollywood Records for what? 4 records?
Yeah, 1, 2.
Steal This
3,
Record.
4.
Steal This Record was the last one, right?
Yeah. And an EP.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, Julian had become our friend. Like, I'd go stay at his house. I know his wife well. I mean, I know his kid. Like, we're friends, you know. And
so you had what they say? You had an advocate at the label, which is so. It's like having an advocate in the friggin' hospital. You know, if you don't have an advocate at the hospital or on the record label, you're fucked.
Yeah, that's the age-old truth.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and he was there, and he was leaving to Capitol, which is why we left. And he's like, well, I could take you to Capitol, but I'm kind of the low guy on the, you know, totem pole at this point. I don't know. You might get thrown off to the side and not really pushed if I bring you with me, but I will. And at this time we flipped over because, you know, I've known Joe Sib for years because our first tour in 1994, we played with Wax in Las Vegas.
Sure.
And we became really good friends, and we stayed friends, and I'd see him all the time. Like, we toured with 22 Jacks and stuff. He'd be like, starting a record label. Cool. Like, years, I want to put out a Machines record. I want to put out a Machines record. But like, we're in Hollywood. And then like the whole thing happened when Julian finally left Hollywood. And we were like, no, we're not going to go to Capitol. We're going to get lost in the shuffle, you know, regardless. And so we called up Joe, and legitimately we were on tour, went into their office off of Melrose.
I've been there. Yeah.
Yeah. The old kind of one that looked rough.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey.
Oh, maybe I was in the one after that.
Oh, you're probably on the really nice one over by Capitol Records.
The one on
the curve.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was.
And you got to pull in and go. Yeah.
Yeah. Flog and Molly bought that one. You know, no, in a good way. But their first office was pretty grungy. You know.
Okay.
Pretty. You know, it's a bunch of DIY dudes putting on records.
Joe Sib is I got to get Joe Sib on the show. He's a really interesting, talented character.
Yeah, and he was around in the beginning in San Jose.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. His comedy stuff is great, you know?
Yeah. Very fitting for people our age into what we're into.
Yeah. I used to listen to it with my kid, you know, and we got, you know, because he there's this one disc we had where he's talking about like meeting Joe Strummer and stuff, and like it was just hilarious, you know. Like, great storyteller. He's a talented guy.
He's got one of Johnny Ramone's guitars.
Is that right?
Yeah, it was one of his signature models that he had. I'm not sure. Somehow maybe Joey's widow somehow had one of them, which is kind of weird. Knowing in the history of maybe their relationship, but somehow he ended up with one of his signature guitars that Mozart had put out. One of their wives gave it to him.
Yeah.
Kind of cool thing you can ask him about.
Yeah. So you decided to go, let's kind of go and Sib's label's Side One Dummy, right?
Yep.
You figured, hey, let's go with our boy kind of big fish, small pond concept.
Yeah, man. You know, and I think people thought we were washed up or something. And you know, they were always cool and wanted to do a record, and they're still fired up regardless of like how, you know, we consistently put out 2 pretty records that kind of sucked and didn't really do well.
Right.
But, you know, we're always touring. We never quit. And they still wanted to do it. And so.
And that was a match and some gasoline, right?
Yeah. It's funny because when we handed the record in, they actually were surprised that it was good.
Right.
It was funny. It was funny. But yeah. They're just cool, man. Like I said, sometimes being friends with people is far more important than, you know, just being on a label, you know what I mean? Or being, you know, in a touring situation. You meet some of your best friends, I think, doing this stuff, you know, and Joe it was always super cool, man. Super cool guy, you know?
Yeah, he's I gotta get him on, man. He's funny. I like him.
Yeah.
So you guys ran the gamut for a while, a match with some gasoline, war profiteering is killing us all, and sort of the hand played out after a while, and you took a big break. What was the impetus for you to sort of take that break?
Well, you know, most of the people that would come and go in my band did not get along with the guitar player. And at the time, I was not getting along with them. At this point, I had to have Danny from Against All Authority sit in and play bass because you know, our bass player wouldn't be in the band anymore with them, and then our drummer quit kind of unexpectedly too because he just didn't want to deal with them anymore, and kind of a nightmare situation. And we ended up playing at not the Trocadero, Hollywood. I can't think of the name of it. Is it the Trocadero in Hollywood? Not the Trocadero.
The
Troubadour.
The Troubadour.
Yeah.
What's his name? Jim Weston's Troubadour, right? Or whatever.
Yeah, we had a really rough show because he was having some gear issues with his guitar. And then I'd already told him, like, we had this big discussion. I was like, dude, I got to get a job, man. I got like kids. I'm missing them. I'll go out and do part-time with the band. I'm going to go back to normal civilian life, you know, and do my thing. But I'm not quitting. And he got really upset about it. But then he kind of was on the page because side one was like, yeah, we'll still put out records. Who cares if you're not touring? It doesn't matter. And long story short, we're having a bad show. It's funny because all the guys from Pennywise came to the show and saw us basically break up on stage.
Like melt down on stage, right?
Yeah. Those are really good friends of ours. They're some of the first few West Coast people that like accepted us because we weren't really accepted on the West Coast too well, especially in SoCal. And they really were accepting of us. But they came because it was like, yeah, Machines are playing. They all came down and just watched it unravel, and the police were ended up being called because we wouldn't play anymore, and people were not stoked that we had stopped playing. We were having gear issues. We just couldn't get through 30 minutes, and finally we were done. And people are going nuts, and they think we're going to come on for an encore. We're not coming on for an encore, and people start smashing bottles on the stage and shit. Oof. And the owner's like, just go out there and play a couple more songs, and Dan's upset, does not want to do it. And Danny from Against All Authority, who already does not like Dan, who's playing bass for us, he's like, you know what, fuck Dan. Let's go out and play the band song and just let all the kids sing it. And I was like, yeah, you know what, fuck this. And then so me and Dan, we went and did it, and he lost his shit. Him and I are in the alley in each other's face. And that was it, man. It was over. You know?
Yeah, man. Sometimes it's over.
Yeah,
you know? Yeah, I know,
yep.
Man.
It got far worse than that, and he really screwed our situation over because we were supposed to go to Mexico. There's a lot of stuff in my name as far as all kinds of things. I won't go into because I don't need to bring negativity out there, but it was a bad situation. I was stuck in LA. I had to figure out how to fly home, you know, like Danny and other people with no money. It was pretty crazy.
What's that great line? It's never pretty in the end. You know?
No.
Yeah.
No, it was rough, man. And so I was stuck in Hollywood with no money, trying to figure out how to fly everyone home. Luckily, my wife at the time, her mom at the time had worked for United Airlines. So I just got a bunch of standby vouchers off of her to get everyone home. And then I was just like stuck there. I had to go stay in Ventura at my friend's house because I had no money and try to figure out how to get home. People are trying to sue me from Mexico. It sucked.
So when I know you took a break for a couple years, I think 3 years.
Yeah.
Musically, were you doing anything then? Did you start other musical projects, or did you literally just take a deep breath and spend time with your family?
I did for about three years. I kind of didn't do anything, and then I got injured at work, and I started dabbling in drugs because of an injury, and that took me down a pretty crappy hole. I was working in a freezer, which is miserable. And, things kind of started taking a turn for the worst. And I started this band called Hellmouth, which is like a hardcore band, I guess you could say. I don't know. And I started that band right after the Suicide Machines, a couple of years after we'd broken up, you know. And I'd always kind of been in the hard. I don't classify myself. Obviously, like I told you, I'm a skateboarder first.
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, that you were like, hey, I'm not a hardcore dude. I'm not a ska dude. First and foremost, I'm a skateboard dude. And
Absolutely.
yeah, right on. I mean, that's unique. Usually it's like me, I'd be like, yo, let's get it straight. I'm a hardcore dude, like that's me. You're a skateboard dude, that's cool.
Yeah, so I feel comfortable being in any kind of band because if I like the music, I feel comfortable in it because I don't relate to, classifying myself ever.
Sure.
If anyone's going to ask me if I had to and pigeonhole myself, I'd be like, yeah, I'm a skateboarder. Like, that's it. But that being said, like I started Hellmouth and so that went on for quite a long time. Played a lot with like Negative Approach and Trash Talk and a lot of that stuff. So.
I want to ask you real quick about Negative Approach because you're a Detroit guy, and I'm on the East Coast, and whenever I think of Detroit and that first wave of American hardcore, always think of Negative Approach. Did Negative Approach cast a long shadow there in Detroit? Tell me a little bit about that.
Giant shadow.
Yeah, huh?
Gigantic shadow. Almost to the point where it was probably hard for them to do the Laughing Hyenas, because the Laughing Hyenas were magnificent, probably one of my favorite bands of all time. But
right.
That shadow was cast even over that because people are like, oh, what's this, blues? Like, or
right.
ish. Like, what is he doing now? And to me, like the Hyenas are one of the most pivotal and most important bands in Detroit to me. But I missed the end of Negative Approach. But I remember getting the 7-inch because you knew who they were as a kid. Like the local scene was more important, I think, to all of us back then. Bands didn't tour a lot.
Yeah.
So it was months before I saw another big band. So I was going to see all the local bands. All the local bands are inspired by the Meatmen, the Fix, Negative Approach. You know what I mean? So it's a giant shadow.
To me, on this end of things, the Fix is sort of like the unsung heroes of that whole thing. You just don't hear much about the Fix, but they were very predominant early on, for sure.
Yeah. There's a lot of bands that were like really known in our area.
Anyone you could think of, any unsung heroes that kind of didn't get their just desserts from like that era?
From that era? The Fix, obviously.
Yeah.
What was that band? Violent Apathy, maybe?
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah. They were kind of like known in the area, but man, there's one band that just resurfaced that I didn't even really know about except for seeing on flyers. And I can't think of the name of the band, man. I wish I could right now. And I just now, because they played the Freezer too with like Negative Approach and stuff. And I only had heard the name.
Effigies was Chicago, right?
Effigies was Chicago.
Chicago, right.
Yeah. So like as far as Unsung in Detroit, I mean, like you said, man, like Negative Approach just cast such a shadow on the whole city. It inspired the whole city. I remember thinking like, wow, these are guys from Detroit and Ann Arbor. Like, you know what I mean? Like, dude, these dudes did this from our city. Like, because I said I missed that door. You know what I mean? That window of them breaking up. What did they break up? 83, 82?
Yeah.
I was like 86, 87.
Yeah.
So I missed them. And then getting that 7-inch and just being like, because I heard the 7-inch before I ever heard Tied Down.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this is, you ask people, are you a Minor Threat guy or are you a Negative Approach guy? Dude, no one in Detroit's going to say I'm a Minor Threat guy.
Yeah, right.
I love Minor Threat, but you know what? I'm going to be like, I'm a Negative Approach guy. You know what I mean? Dude, the Machines covered nothing when we first started playing. So we're a punk ska band, and we played nothing. You know what I mean?
I love your version of but speaking of throwing Minor Threat in the mix, I love your version of the Minor Threat song, I Don't Want to Hear It. That's great too, man.
Yeah. Thank you. It was fun. It was a fun one.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, Negative Approach is like, dude, there would not be, I don't know, man. There's such their shadow goes well past Michigan.
They were
huge.
They were a huge influence on me. A huge influence on my crew here on the East Coast. Like,
shout out Sunday. Shout out to John Brannon. It's my homie, man. He's a great guy.
Yeah, man. I got to get him on the show. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'll tell him he's the best dude, man.
Yeah, I mean they were huge. John Brannon as a vocalist was a huge influence on me, man. John Brannon, early Henry Rollins, which Henry Rollins, in sort of the shifting sands of time, you know, with what happened with Black Flag later on, but I was there for it. When Black Flag Damaged came out, it was a game changer. Black Flag Damaged was a game. It was mind blowing. That record was Black Flag Damaged was a step above everything. They were incredible in that moment. You know.
Yeah. I remember being confused as a kid, man. Because I remember I told you I got Group Sex, and then I got Slip It In was on that cassette too.
Yeah.
And I remember I remember getting I remember seeing Decline of the Western Civilization and being like, I'm so confused. There's Black Flag Circle Jerk. Like, what's going on, man? I was so lost. I'm like, who is in what band? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was
kind of
for a lot of us. Black Flag. For a lot of us, Black Flag ended with Slip It In. That kind of sort of like that's when they.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. It was bizarre. You know, did you ever hear the Radio Tokyo sessions?
Is that with Chuck Biscuit's playing drums? That bit? I don't know.
I don't know. All I know is I was never a huge Rollins fan until I heard that Radio Tokyo sessions, and it's just like one of the most gnarly, animalistic, angry, just craziest vocal performances too I've ever heard in my life. I remember thinking, this is them live, dude. This is insane how good it is.
Hey, let's talk about this project of yours, Break Anchor. Seems like you have some, right?
Yeah, it's old picture.
Is it? I have another one, but
no,
yeah. So tell us a little bit about Break Anchor and how does this differ from some of the other projects you started?
So at the time, like Hellmouth, man, I crawled into a pretty bad hole, and I almost painted the picture of, I almost made myself into what I was writing about.
There you go.
I got kind of weird, man, and I was almost becoming what I hated by writing about what it was, and I was really starting to get, and I almost feel like people were cheering me on, like, sweet, this dude's gonna kill himself, here we go, like, keep going, you know what I mean? And
that's a danger, that's a scary place to be, man.
And I was, and it ended, and I just had to do anything I could to like try to get out of that, and I was still pretty in that hole, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start a pop punk band. That's what I do. I've always been good at it. I've always also been inspired by stuff like coming out of DC, like Lungfish and Fugazi, but I also love stuff like, you know, Crimp Shrine and Jawbreaker and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I'm gonna try to get myself out of this, even though some of those songs are kind of sad, but like I'm gonna do a pop punk band, you know what I mean? And like the guy that you see with the long sleeve t-shirt on there and the creepy mustache,
sure,
it's like one of my best friends growing up, Chris, and we always like, we're gonna do a band again someday. We're gonna do a band again someday. Because when we were younger, we had done a band called Roosevelt's Inaugural Parade.
I love that name.
Cleons Down, like, you know, in 92, 93 as well, 94. And then that lasted really a short amount of time. And I was like, yo, I know you love stuff like, you know, Dinosaur Jr. and Jawbreaker. I'm going to do a pop punk band, dude. And he's like, hell yeah, I'm in. So these are the other two guys in the middle are two younger cats from the scene here. And I love Kyle, the guy with the glasses. He's such a great songwriter. He's a phenomenal songwriter. And Dan's a sweetheart. And we kind of just, you know, I tried dragging myself out of the hole that, you know, had become Hellmouth. You know, that's what that band is.
I guess this is a later shot. Has this lineup remained intact?
Yeah. Once in a while, we'll have to have someone, you know, sit in. Like I had COVID recently, so we had a friend of the band sit in because it was kind of an important show. So we had friends sit in for me because I was sick. And then like once, I think our drummer couldn't play a show one time, and it was like a benefit for all those kids who were stabbed by the Nazis out on the West Coast quite a few years ago.
Oof.
Confronting them, so we were trying to help pay their medical bills. So it was kind of like a big deal. If I remember, I think that might have been the show. That might have been the Traders. I can't remember. Something happened to where our drummer couldn't play. So, but yeah, that is the lineup always. So that lineup. I don't think Break Anchor could be. Oh, we did have one different drummer. He was in a band called Against the Grain. Kind of sound like Zeke and Motorhead. Fantastic Detroit band. That was the original drummer, but Against the Grain kind of started taking off. So Dan took his place. But
Rick
You know,
asks,
he was short.
Rick asks, when's Break Anchor touring again? Hit Boston, my man.
We're writing, man. We just put out a cassette last week.
Yeah, nobody's touring. Nobody's going anywhere.
Good point.
Yeah, right?
Good point.
I mean,
yeah, man. Good point. I've only been playing weekends basically, and that's sketchy at best.
Crazy, man. Tell us about Black Christmas Fest in Detroit that you guys did every year since 1996, and sort of like, and the burden that it became.
Yeah, it's sad to say that. That's like first world problems, right? Burden,
Yeah.
But it did, man. We got really burnt out on it. It turned out with us being we were doing pretty well in Detroit, so we'd play like 2 or 3 nights upstairs at the Majestic in Detroit, at the Magic Stick, the Garden Bowl, whatever you want to call it. It's like this big complex. We'd play upstairs, which is like a pretty big club. We'd play 2 or 3 nights in a row on the weekend during Christmas, and it just would sell out every year. And we're just like, our friend at the time, Ramona, through Black Irish Booking, was like, why don't we just do like a huge festival? Because we had been broken up for a few years, got back together to do a benefit to get a political activist out of trouble. And then she was like, let's do Black Christmas again. Or, and we're like, yeah, okay, cool. So, but let's do it like a festival. And so we started doing it like a festival, and like all the rooms. We'd have the ballroom, the upstairs, and the little bar. And we'd have bands through the whole thing. Like, and it was fun, man. It was a blast. It was great. Had a lot of phenomenal bands play. And, a lot of people would make the flight or make the drive and from even just come see it, let alone play it. And it was a lot of fun, but man, it just something about having, a couple hundred of your friends on a guest list wasted out of their minds and you're joining them. It was just kind of like, it was just getting burdened. It was like stressful. I don't know, man. Everyone just got really burnt out on it.
Yeah, I guess anything exciting can become routine and get stomped into dust.
It did.
Yeah.
And it was really horrible because like the last couple of years, man, we had some great bands play. You know what I mean?
And when you say festival, is that multiple stages? Like, yeah, that's cool.
Yep. We'd time the 2 stages, the main ballroom and then the upstairs bigger stage. We time them. And then we also had, if you wanted to see bands there, we had the cafe or the garden bowl downstairs. You can go there and check out whoever else, Yeah. And it was fun, man. It was really fun, but I don't know. Just got old, man.
You gotta mix it up. Hey, before we take the last break here and come back and take some questions from around the world, I want to ask you about this photo here. I love this shot here. What is going on here?
Yeah. So I don't know which time this is. I went on. I think this is the time that I'm pretty positive it's the Madball Set It Off release show. And right above, somewhere in the white shirt, it's actually a Madball Set It Off shirt next to Vinny Stigma's dog. That's actually Vinny's dog.
That's you in the front with the blonde hair?
Yeah, with like the burgundy bands on. And
well, I mean, from what I recognize, I see Craig Satari all the way on the left.
Yep.
I think that's Tommy Rat. I see Rick to Life. All the way on the right in the black tank top is Wildcard, Matt Henderson. Of course, Freddie and Hoya in the front.
It's quite a bit of CTYC in there.
Yeah, right. So
yeah, Donnie and Roy.
Yep.
And actually in the Madball shirt, dead front, and the black shirt.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to see, but I think that's Craig Holloway, who after they kicked me out, he came back and played bass with them after they had already kicked me out. But I mean, we're all friends, at this point. Right. So I just went out with them to that show.
Oh, so you weren't playing this show? You just traveled out on this show?
Yeah, man, just hanging out. I think it was. And what was really cool is AF did like a surprise set. I think they did 6 or 7 songs maybe that day.
Yeah, I was there. I was actually there because right before this, I did the Madball Down by Law video, and I actually I was here. Was this at Wetlands?
No, it's CB's.
CB's. Oh, yes.
And so,
right.
So for a kid from Detroit to be like, oh, the Agnostic Front banner just got dropped, I was like, what?
There's
You know what I mean?
there's footage from this show in that video
Oh, no
that
way.
I did in Down by
I wonder
Law.
if I'm in there.
Yeah,
I'm right there
footage.
in the blue ski cap, man. That's me.
Oh, and that's Roger in front of you.
Yeah. So
that's cool.
Is that Madball or Coldest Life playing though? I think it might be Coldest Life.
I think it might be Cold as Life.
Yeah, I think so too. Because I'm pretty sure that's Jeff Gannell's arm, because I recognize the tattoo. So I'm pretty sure that's actually Roger and Coldest Life set. But yeah, it was like God, what was it? It was like Downset, 25 to Life, Bulldoze. Oh God, Coldest Life, Madball, and then Agnostic Front played.
Yeah, I remember it. It was a big deal when Agnostic Front played. It was like,
dude, crazy.
Yeah. It was
crazy.
It was great. It was a big deal. I remember. Yep.
Yeah. Because I didn't even know.
Yeah. Let me take my last little sponsor break here. We'll come back and we'll take questions from around the world. All right.
Yep. Cool.
Well, there you have it. This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. Our guest today is Mr. Jay Navarro from the Suicide Machines. We are sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, DTFM Vinyl Distro, Chacho's Tacos, Generation Records, and Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards. Located in Lakewood, Colorado, is the Rocky Mountain headquarters for all things punk, hardcore, and metal. Established in 2014, they have the largest selection of CDs, shirts, stickers, patches, and accessories between Chicago and Los Angeles. From the pit to the ditch, they got your back. Get in touch with them at www.chainreactionrecords.com. Last but not least, what's up, Vlad? I got to get my ass down there. Organic Grill is a vegan restaurant located in East Village, New York City at 123 Foist Avenue in New York City. Featured in New York Magazine, New York Times, and Veg News, their dishes have won numerous awards, including Best Goddamn Zombie Apocalypse Veggie Burger. They make their own cheeses, sausages, and burger patties, and every dish on the menu can be made gluten-free. This year, they're celebrating their 21st anniversary, and they're all about having a great time while enjoying amazing, clean food. They have now fully reopened for business and look forward to seeing you. Get in touch with them and order some great food at www.theorganicgrill.com. That said, hey, got to remind everybody, it's coming down to last call for the New York Hardcore Chronicles book. There's not a lot left. They will be gone. Be gone. Anybody watching The Witcher out there? Any fans of The Witcher? We've been watching this. Got like 2 or 3 episodes left, and we are very much enjoying it. Fans of Lord of the Rings, the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings stuff, I think would enjoy The Witcher. We've been getting into it. So any other fans, just wondering, am I the only one that's watching this? Me and my gal? Anyway, it's the New York Hardcore Chronicles, Volume 1, 1980 to 1989. And yes, the second volume is in production. Give me a couple years, it'll get done. All kinds of cool stuff in this book. Buy it at www.stonefilmsnyc.com. Yes. Yeah, we're doing another book. I got 2 books that are happening. One is the Greg Smith photographs from 1977 London. We showed some of them on the last show. That's being designed now. And there is a second volume from 1990 to 1999, a second volume of this book that's in production. NYHC Ray, just got my book, Drew. I love it, bro. My pleasure. I'm glad you enjoy it. The Witcher's a commitment, man. It's a commitment, you know. Everybody, let me see. Yes. All right. Yeah, there you go. We have finished The Witcher. It's brilliant, very well done. We have 2 or 3 more episodes left. Yeah, it's like very Lord of the Rings. You got to commit to it, you know, like you really got to like hang in for a couple of episodes. Anyway, that said, We already mentioned the book. If you're watching the show in rerun, there is a subscription button there. Please subscribe to Stone Films NYC YouTube page. You'll get alerts. There's also a merch line underneath. Maybe you want the New York Hardcore Chronicles mug or a t-shirt. Please support the show. There's also a super chat if you have a burning desire for our guest, Mr. J. Navarro. Feel free to spend $1 or $2 on a super chat. It comes in color. I can't miss it. You go right to the front of the line. Sid is not feeling well today. Sid is not on the show. He had some family thing that he had to deal with. The popsicles are good. How are the popsicles? Funny you should ask. How are the popsicles? How's that? I've been having some problems with my voice, and the popsicles seem to help. So, you know, your show keeps me sane, Drew. Thanks. Well, you keep me sane, and everybody's support really helps me. You know, hey Tom, how you doing, buddy? Welcome. Let's bring our guests back. Let me make sure everybody's. I look like I'm ready to head. I know, right? Funny you should say that, because I'm like, do I look like I'm gonna play? Listen, it was between the white one and the black one. Should I have gone with the black one? I know. My fear is that, like, I look like I'm going to play golf with my dad, you know? Here. How about what do you know from the New York Hardcore scarf? You put on the New York Hardcore scarf just so we can really get it on here. Sam Nolan, hello from NM. First time watching. Enjoy it. NM, is that New Mexico, buddy? Well, welcome, Sam. Black it is. Let's bring our guest back on. Hey, it's a fucking fashion show.
Yo, you look like a ska kid now, man. Got the Perry on, the football scarf, man. You need to put the white cap back on them.
Right.
That's
great, man. That's great.
Hey, shout out Sunday. One to you. Everyone, dude, go to his Patreon, drop Drew some loot, because he really is up at 6 a.m. I grabbed my phone. I'm like, yo, I must be sleeping. He's already texting me and posting. It's like 7. I just woke up. And shout out to Vlad too, man, from Organic Grill, because he's kind of like the dude that hooked us up.
That's right. He's the guy that connected us. That's right.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Good cat, man. Great food. Jeez.
Yeah. Vlad is part of my squad. He's a great guy, incredible supporter of what I do. You know, I'm thrilled that they're a sponsor, man. And I'm not just blowing smoke here. He's really supportive and really he really helps, man. You know.
Yeah, very nice guy. He completely phenomenal like vibe about him. You know what I mean? Because he was there the day I went to go eat, and he just started talking to me. I was like, "Oh, this dude's rad." And we were just talking, and that was it. Here we are.
And then he said, "Do you know this guy? You should have him on the show." I'm like, "Ask him if he's ever heard of the show." He's like, "Yeah, he has." And then
his chef put the suicide machines on over the PA, and it was on the whole time we ate. I was like, "Oh
Christ! Can I eat my gluten-free friggin' hamburger in peace?"
Yeah, man. Cool. Right. Hey, no joke though. Some of the best grub ever. So
every time we do a show, I do one of those free A7, a Bowery Electric. Now he sends down a whole he sends down trays, a whole tray of food.
That's awesome, man.
Let me see a couple of things. Jeff Scrooge says Black Christmas was more fun than real Christmas.
Nah, man, I skated his pool.
Oh yeah,
he emptied out his pool before he caved it in with a bulldozer. We all skated it. Dude, all kinds of people came and skated. Like Tony Hawk came and skated it. It's crazy. Fun.
Kevin Hegg says, being a skater, did you hang out with the Suicidal Crew? What was your favorite skate tournament? Like how? Yeah.
Yeah, man. So my skate stories are kind of bizarre, especially like the Suicidal Crew. Like I went on tour with them, right? Check this out. I'll try to make it as quick as I can.
This is the money. This is right. People. You're good, man. You're good.
It's Thanksgiving. We're on tour with Suicidal, right? So my mind's blown as a kid. I'm like, well, dude, this is like one of the bands I love. He's like, hey, Mike Muir is like, I'm going to cook you guys a Thanksgiving dinner at my brother's house. And I'm just like, Red Dog? He's like, yeah. I'm like, are we talking the Dogtown Venice house? He's like, well, yeah, it's kind of in Venice, but not. or I think it was on the border of Venice. I'm like, are you kidding me, dude? He's like, yeah, I'll make sure you have some vegan food, Jay. I got you. I was like, all right. So we go to the Dogtown house. Mike Muir cooks this a spread, dude. Like, he even cooked the turkey for the other homies.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. Eric Dressen comes home because Eric Dressen is living there. Times like, oh, I'm Eric. I'm like, holy crap, man. Eric Dressen just came home. This is crazy. Mike's like, I got to run over to my family's house for Thanksgiving. I'll come back, clean up. He's like, hey, do you want to raid the warehouse? I'm like, the warehouse? He's like, oh, yeah, it's all in the garage. I was like, what? He let me go into the dog. He punched the security code. He went in there, and me, I'm like, I don't really. I take what I need and I'm going to do it. That's it. I'm not going to.
You're not, as we used to say back in the day. You're not a hordak. That was a hordak.
Nah. So,
a hordak was a guy. A hordak was a guy that took for him and for my brother. Yeah.
I took 2 shirts and 1 deck, and he's like, "That's all you're taking?" I'm like, "Yeah, man. That's all I need, dude." Like,
that's cool.
So that was cool. But I got to tour with a lot of cool people too, man. Like, I became friends with like Matt Hensley, who's in Flogging Molly, who's like definitely, I loved watching him skate. You know what I mean? And so to skate with him, dude, Steve Caballero. Here's the big one, man. This is the big one. So like, I would skate every day on Warped Tour. Always. I'd skate the street course. And Cab skated with me a few times, and like John Comer, rest in peace, would come skate. And like Mike Frazier would come drink coffee with me and stuff like that. But like Cab would see me skate every day. And like, end of one of the Warped Tours, he comes onto my bus and he's got a board in his hand and it's complete. He's like, yo, this is my street setup. I wrote it like 3 times this whole time. And he's like, dude, here you go. Have this setup. He's like, you shredded. I cannot believe you skated so crazy. I've not seen anyone skate like this in the Warped Tour that's in a band. Here's awesome. Here. And I'm like, I'm going to ride this thing and destroy it, right? I'm not keeping it. He's like, no, of course. That's why I'm giving it to you. I know you're going to ride it and destroy it. I did keep the deck. I do still have the deck. I don't keep much. I told you that. I don't keep many things.
Right.
I have the deck from him, and then like Bill Danforth, the old Alva Pro, is a really good friend of mine. He's a good close homie, and skate together and stuff like that. And I actually have a board that he gave to me too that I kept. So I have like 1 board from him as well.
That's awesome.
So yeah. So I mean,
like we discussed a little bit, and it's come up a lot, is that I think it's safe to say that whenever you're a part of some sort of rolling caravan like the Warped Tour, it's the camaraderie. It's not so much as what happens on stage. It's really the camaraderie of traveling together in that sort of community. That's really where the money is, so to speak.
Yeah. I remember taking the bass player of Avail out to Burnside because he'd never been to Burnside. Mm-hmm. And I was like, we're playing by Burnside, we're skating it. And I skated Burnside since it was like, there was rebar and they're still building everything. And the guys from Avail, like, if he comes back with a broken arm, we're going to kick your ass, Jay. I don't care if we like you or not.
Oh, man. Man.
Well, because I skated for real, you know what I mean? Like, I take it to it and go for it. And even my band was always worried about me getting hurt, so.
Yeah, it's understandable. It's like a football player going, like you always read about these baseball and football players, like, he hurt himself on his motorcycle. It's like, yo, this dude's worth millions and millions of dollars. This guy should not be getting on a motorcycle,
Yeah, man. I definitely played quite a few shows hurt. Actually, on that Suicidal tour, I broke 3 bones in my foot doing a Smith grind. I slipped out on a super slippery ramp. I had duct taped my foot together for like a week or 2 before I got home. Just fractured them all. But
M. Tavares comes through with the super chat. It's been a while. Move to the front of the line, brother. Been trying to find out since I was a kid. What are the last 2 lines sung in Capsule?
We dig our own graves. Now we lie in them and we roll in our own shit. Oh, eyes of grief witness our sores of. Wait, eyes of grief witness our sores of something. Witness our sores of idiocy.
Okay.
Yeah, eyes of grief witness our sores of idiocy.
Fair enough.
I think that's what he's talking about.
All right, that makes sense. James Elliott says, the Suicides Machines rule. I picked up Destruction by Definition in '96 because the cover looked cool and I never looked back. Classic.
It's because that's my butt on the cover.
Here's a good one. Hey, Jay, any Motown influences?
Yeah. I mean, dude, that's
a good answer. Good question. Yeah.
I think like Motown and ska, or like soul and ska, is very together in that world, kind of. And dude, of course, man, like you can't live in Detroit and not listen to the Ronettes or you know what I mean, stuff like that. Like it's just ingrained here, like Marvin
I would think
Gaye,
so. Yeah.
It's all ingrained.
Smokey Robinson, like the whole bit, right?
Yeah, man. Like you as a kid, you know, you're gonna hear Grapevine, you're gonna hear Aretha. Like it's just a part of being here, man. Like 100%. Like yeah, you grew up around it. It's a giant thing here, man. It's another long shadow, like Negative Approach. You know what I mean? That casts more of a shadow on me probably than stuff like the MC5 and the Stooges, because that was my mom's music.
Sure. No, that's legit. That's legit, bro. That makes a lot of sense. It's like growing up here in New York, like certain you know, like the Ramones, you know, you can get away from it, you know.
Right.
You know, I mean, and other things, but New York was a lot.
Yeah, it's a very diverse city to have music in, man.
And we've discussed this on the show many times. In the era that I grew up in, FM radio was such a big player. You know, it was like, you know, they call it classic rock radio, but FM was the rock radio I grew up on, you know, and it was the radio all the time, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I discovered hip hop, man. I remember being like 5th grade, and I moved to the city, and you know, everyone knows that if you lived in a neighborhood where you didn't have much money, you'd go put 50 cents in the public pool and go swimming at the public pool.
Sure.
Right. If you were lucky enough to have one.
Sure.
And these kids, I remember being in 5th grade, and these kids were rocking WJLB FM here in Detroit.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I heard, like, you know, Africa Bambaataa and like the Prince of Arabia and stuff like that. And I was just like, what is this? This is like from that movie Breakin' or a Beat Street, you know? And I remember thinking, this is sick. Like, this is the stuff from the movie, you know? And so you would go on late night in Detroit, and you'd find this guy called the Electrifying Mojo. And he would play at 10 or 11 o'clock at night, and I would tune in and turn my stereo down low because I had to piece together, you know, 70s, 80s piece stereo. I had to piece all together, and you'd tune in and hear Africa Bambaataa and, you know, Nucleus and stuff like that. And dude, that was all FM radio, you know?
You know, music, and I'm not one of these guys that's like, you know, back in the day, and I hate all that stuff, you know, but it's like, in a lot of ways, music back then, you had to really want it. You had to really desire it. You had to seek it out. You had to put the pieces together. You know, it wasn't like you just bring it up on your phone and, boom. You had to, you know, and then especially the hardcore and the punk rock stuff, you know, back, you know, you had to like really, you know, really seek it out. You know?
Yeah.
Hey, Volt BMX, one of our big supporters, and I know he's excited because we got Rick Thorne coming on the show.
Dude, Rick's the dude.
Yeah, hold on. Let me find my Rick thing. Hold on. Yeah, here he is. We have this coming up.
Black, man. Good cat.
Yeah. He's a good dude, man. He's always been a good dude.
Yep.
You know.
I got along with him really well on the Warped Tour, man. He was always cool.
Oh, that's right. He was on the Warped Tour a couple times. That's right.
Yeah, man. Super cool dude, man.
Yeah. There's me and him on the bottom there. Jay's favorite 80s skate VHS.
80s? So we're talking 80s? Oh, that's probably easy, man. It would have to be Wheels of Fire by Santa Cruz.
Wow.
That was probably my favorite skate video, man. It's insanely good. You know, as a little kid, like in the 80s, that's like, you see it and you're just like, oh, because, you know, all you had was a magazine. Right. So you had the local kids that could kind of skate, but these tricks and go, how the hell did they do that? What are they doing there? And I got Wheels of Fire. That was the first real video I ever saw. And it was just like, whoa.
Game changer.
Heavy, man. All SST soundtrack.
Sure.
Forget about it.
You know, it's interesting, like on a lot of those early skate videos, and my brother had a company out in Venice called T-Bone Films. They did a whole bunch of inline skate videos. For a minute there, where inline skate video, you know, he did the hoax videos, and I remember it was interesting what labels had the foresight to let them use their music for it, and probably one of the only labels that said you can use any of our stuff. Here you go. Was Epitaph. You know, they had the vision like, hey, yeah, sure. While everybody else was like, no, you got to fuck you, pay me, and all this other bullshit. And that's why a lot of those early videos had, you know, Bad Religion, Pennywise, No Effects. What was Smalley's other band? Dave Smalley's band.
Down by Law.
Down by Law, and like, you know, and that they were smart, and it got it out there to that audience, and then boom, you know.
My first tour of Japan was with Down by Law years ago.
Yo, Dave Smalley, Dave Smalley and me go back.
Good cat, man. Good cat.
Dave, you know, Dave Smalley, when I went to my first hardcore show in 1981 at SSD Control Show, there was maybe 15 kids there, and Dave Smalley was one of them. So I've known Dave a very long time. Let's see. Oh, Vault says, "Fuck yeah! I thought Wheels of Streets of Fire it would be it." Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah. I mean, Streets of Fire and Speed Freaks. I think Speed Freaks might have been 90, but like, yeah, man. I mean, dude, you can't mess with like Nadas. Like his part in those videos is insane. And I was more of a street skater in the beginning, and so to see stuff like that is nuts, man. Like just nuts. Like fire hose rocking in the background. There's not a spinning around on a fire hydrant. Like, what are you doing? Like, I didn't get it. Like, just bizarre.
Are you skating these days? Do you still skate?
Oh yeah, man. Just picked up a brand spanking new deck the other night. New Anti-Hero. Just got it.
Wow.
Yes,
look at that.
absolutely. No, I still skate constantly, about three times a week at least.
Cool.
For sure,
cool.
man. No, I'll never quit. Are you kidding me? Never, ever.
Chris P says, "I'm an hour behind watching and catching up now. I want to say I will always be grateful for Jay inviting me to help on gang vocals on the new record. Music is everything to me. Thanks, Jay."
Chris is awesome, man. So for the last record, we really wanted to do something cool for us. And what it was is like, we have all these friends around Detroit that have always been cool. And Chris is one of them. Like they're always at every show, always hanging out. They're friends. They're not people who come to the shows. And so the last night of recording with Roger Lima, who is actually one of your photos of the day that everyone said looked like Max from Sepultura, produced our record at the time.
Of course. Bingo.
We invited a ton of our friends into the studio, and they all drove up to the studio, and we let all of our friends sing on the record. So if you look at the shout outs on the record, and it's just a huge list of people because we let all of our friends come in and sing on the record because we wanted something special, because we didn't, you never know when it's going to be your last record, and we wanted something special and personal for us. So we brought in all our friends, and Chris was one of them.
Independence Day is the best 67 seconds on that record.
What was that again? Independence Parade.
Independence Parade. There you go.
Yeah. I might have to plug these in really quick.
Okay.
Yeah, give me 1 second. These guys are.
Go ahead.
These guys are croaking.
Good. Any questions you have? Our guest is Jay Navarro from the Suicide Kings. We'll do a couple more minutes. Do a couple more questions, and we'll keep it schmoving. Gotcha.
Cool.
Solomon Ska Flores, do you have a favorite Mexican / Japanese ska band? Great show, Drew. That's heavy. I'm not as versed in this, but I can only imagine like Japanese ska bands.
There's phenomenal ska scene in Mexico and in Japan.
Right? In Mexico?
Phenomenal.
That's awesome. Phenomenal.
Dude,
that is fucking
I would say
awesome.
The biggest ska scene is probably Mexico. It's insane there. And you got to think about you got to think about not so much mariachi, but like caballero kind of music in Mexican traditional music with accordions and stuff.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of almost too ska, right? So it's a very, very big genre in Mexico. I don't know. Lost Kung Fu Monkeys probably, but I think one of the cast lives in San Diego, so I don't know if that counts.
Los Kung Fu Monkeys?
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome.
Nino Zombie.
Oh, here you go. Yeah, Nino Zombie. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And then like when it comes to Japan, like there's so many. Dude, Japan's awesome. The Redemption are one of them. I love the Redemption. They're more like reggae kind of rock steady.
Nicotine.
Coquettish, of course, ska punk. Yeah, Nicotine. That's old school.
Right.
But dude, Japan and Mexico, it's insane. Like the ska punk scene.
Have you got the machines over to Japan?
Yeah, I think we toured Japan like 9 times or something like that. We actually, for the rest of the people watching, we have a split 12-inch coming out with Coquettish, our friends from Tokyo, another ska punk band coming out this year. So.
When is the Coquettish split going to come out?
Oh, summer, you put that up there? Oh, geez, that was quick. What's up, Justin? Dude, this guy's awesome. We do this thing called Food Not Class in Detroit where we, help the needy. Every Wednesday, food, clothes. He actually just showed up with a bunch of blankets and hand warmers and stuff last Wednesday. Good cat. I don't know when it's coming out. You'd have to. I'm not even going to spoil what label it's on because I'd rather let them do that. So I don't know. Sorry. This year. It's this year.
All right. Yeah. Come to Mexico, Jay.
Trying. I'm trying, Carnell. Trying.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me see what else we got. Anything else? Hey, John Schmidt. Thanks for the super. How about a question, bro? Come on, John. Post a question, buddy. You get a question for that. $5. You get a question. Make it good. I was in your brother's inline videos. Love when worlds, passions, interests collide. He's talking about my brother Evan Stone. All right, cool. John Smith. Yeah, my brother had a company, T-Bone Films. They did all the hoax videos. My brother's a cinematographer now on the show Expedition Unknown that's on the History Channel. He does that. He runs around with all that,
Here's my thought on rollerblading. I think that, and not that any of you want it, but here it comes. I kind of feel like rollerblading is dead right now. Mm-hmm. And I think that the people who have stuck around still doing it, do their hardcore, man, because they're not doing it for money. They're doing it for the love, just like everyone else did when they picked up a skateboard, man. So don't give each other crap because we're all in the same boat. Because, dude, none of those people, they're inlining for the love now, because it's kind of a situation like where skateboarding died for a long time, right? Same thing. So I'm totally cool with all it. I like a ton of bladers in Detroit. They're all cool, man. Yep.
How do you enjoy working with Fat Records?
I love it. I don't ever want to leave. I'm good. We were talking about being friends. Like, we're the least, like, I've known Mike for a while, but I never really knew Aaron and stuff. I know her now, but like, it's become the situation to where we like the people we're with, man. You know what I mean? There's something to be said about becoming friends with people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Roy Ramon, good question. It wasn't answered. How is it having Derek Grant back for the Destruction by Definition tours? I've seen Alkaline Trio so many times just to watch that guy play drums. So talented.
Monster on drums. Monster on drums. It was fun. It's always good to have it. I keep in touch with him quite a bit. He doesn't live too far from me. It was nice to see him back in the Alkaline Trio recently. Yeah. It was awesome having him back on drums. At the time, our drummer, Ryan B., who's been in the band for a million years, he was the guy that came after Derek. He couldn't make that tour because of work, so Derek stepped in, and it was I don't know, it's just like jumping right back into how it was when he was in the band before,
That's awesome.
Phenomenal
hey,
drummer, man. Phenomenal.
Rat Bones, you want to come back on and shout anybody out? Hey, bring it.
Yeah, man. I'm chomping at the bit today, man. Detroit.
All right.
Kidding me?
All right. What do you got for Jay?
I just want to say, Jay, man, it's cool as shit hearing your story. You do so much. You're so real. You're such an activist into it. Like, you really do shit. You just don't like do it just for the music. You're really a lifestylist. I really dig that. And it's cool to know too that I may have even helped set you on that path and set you off, because I still live with that passion, the same thing. I'm a dad. I do my regular life. But I do want to give a quick shout out. This is the only Detroit show I'm going to get. These are the bands I remember from Detroit. SBLC, Heresy, Son of Sam, The Rogues, Forced Anger, Coven 13, Gangster Fun,
Oh, yeah.
Committee, The Bats, Boom and the Legion of Doom, Neglect, the Necros, the Misfits, of course, NA. Then you had Feisty Cadavers, Ugly But Proud, Dee Dee Ramone and the Chinese Dragons, the Romantics and Iggy Pop and MC5, of course. And some of the clubs, were Blondies, Falcon Lanes, Token Lounge, Harpo's. I saw the DKs there in '85. Old Miami, the Majestic, Tracks, Todd's, St. Andrews Hall, and the Shelter. And you really brought me back to just
Slaughterhouse
times, you know, like we had some good times, man, in Detroit. Detroit ain't no joke, you know. Yeah. I left a piece of myself there. Like that's just a whole nother chapter of my existence, that time I spent in Detroit. So it was cool. Thanks for taking me back to all that, bro. It was cool. Definitely.
Yeah, honestly, what he's saying, man, SBLC, Screaming Bloody Leopard Children, man, were like one of the greatest fucking punk bands of all time.
Absolutely.
Dude, they're so good, man.
Oh, and I had to say this because you were talking about the stories before. Were you hanging with us when we used to do this scam? Is we didn't have no food to eat. There's 10 guys living in the same house. We'd get on the phone and we'd call some fast food restaurant and we'd like say we ordered 30 hamburgers and we were on our way to an office meeting and it messed up and we're going to send our kid in to pick up the order. You messed it up. And we would then go in and we would just act like we get the food. We used to pull that one right in the phone book. Like, who are we going to call today to get food? Like every night, you know, just insane.
Dude, he's not even joking, man. Not even joking. Oh, you know what? There's 3 guys here that are allergic to cheese, man. You fucked it up. And dude, we'd go into like Taco Bell and we get like 3 bags of burritos. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, we used to call. Man. We used to call and be like, "We just won the Little League World Series. Can we have 50 burgers and like we do this an hour before McDonald's close or whatever, McDonald's or Burger King closed, and then it would close and we would stand outside and wait. We'd see them take the garbage and throw it in the dumpster." And we fucking dig out the garbage and boom, 50 hamburgers. You know?
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. There's something to be said for the feisty cadavers too, man. Those first couple of 7 inches like Dead Giveaway and stuff, man. What a great punk band, man. Forever.
All right,
my first show was Slaughterhouse, dude.
Oh, I wanted to ask you, are you old enough? Were you at the Bad Manners Bim Scala Bim shows in the mid 80s there? I think maybe 87, 88. I want to say.
I did see Bad Manners at the Majestic with, I think, Bim and Gangster Fun.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah. And he mentioned, you know, Ratbones mentioned Gangster Fun like that. There would be no Suicide Machines without Gangster Fun. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Yeah, man. There just would not be, man. You know? Absolutely. One of the most important bands in my life,
Meanies?
for sure.
What's the Meanies?
The Meanies, dude. Bill Cozy, what up?
You know, it was a lot of metal punk crossover going on too, because you know I came from the metal scene too at that era, like Seduce and Halloween and Nightmare, and there was all these metal bands around too. So then, once Slayer kind of came in the mix, it changed. You know, everything hardcore. Once you discovered Exploited and GBH, and it was over. You know, for metal.
Did you shout out Ugly But Proud?
I did shout out Ugly.
Yeah, great metal band.
I forgot Pitbull.
It's Pitbull.
Oh yeah,
Pitbull.
Dude. For sure.
What was there?
Yeah. Cold as Life. Cold as Life. Of course.
Pitbull's big song was "Don't Make Me."
Yep. Yeah. Infect. Intolerance. God, I don't know. There's a ton of good metal bands. Actually, really, go back to the metal. There's kind of a lot of good metal bands in Detroit.
Absolutely, man.
All right, Rat. You want to shout anybody out Sunday?
You know, I just want to shout out all my people in Detroit. You know.
Hey, tell Stella. Tell Stella I got the email. It worked. I got it.
I will. But I think a key thing to say too is like, you know, the hardcore punk scene, you knew all these people. Like it was one big family. The way New York hardcore has a scene, Detroit got that kind of scene too. I know it's a little later on now, but that tight-knit community of like, you knew how that dude was wearing the suspenders. He was with that crew almost. You could like pick each other out, you know? So it was a good walk down memory lane today, man. I appreciate it. We got to do more Detroit shows, Drew. A couple more of these. They're
Try
good.
to get John on here, you know?
You know,
and dude, Mr. Furlong is absolutely correct, dude. Like Steve Crass was just like, come here, kid. You're all right. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and he
almost like a Rabies in New York. Rabies would welcome any new band and put them on shows. Same thing that would happen in Detroit, but it's just more spread out, I guess. You know, it's not like
man.
There.
they might give you some hard love, like, right? But like if anyone else came into that show or our scene and like caused some shit would get handled. But you know what? Like they would be cool to the little kids, man. They'd bring you and they'd toughen you up a little bit, but like they'd bring in the young kids, you know, and just be like, next crew come in, this is how it's done. And like if someone wandered into the bar that was there to fight people just because they wanted to fight punks, you know, that's when you would see the older cats come in and actually get violent.
SVP, right? They met Cast Corridor Boot Boys. They met me and Ron.
Yeah. Dude, you know, Ron wasn't gonna let anyone walk into a bar and fuck up the show if there was some dude, some citizen civilian from the outside, like, but you know, and he'd give me some tough love.
Being that mean though, now I'm not.
You were always pretty cool.
My own horn, but we used to really wreck you if you messed around at all. There was no talking. It was handling your business.
Yeah, I've seen some of the scariest fights ever for sure. In Blondies, no less.
One of my memories of Detroit is going to Detroit with Biohazard and at Harpo's, and it was always hectic at Harpo's. Fights in the parking lot, like fighting your way out of Harpo. Harpo's was always some drama, man. Always.
I mean, we were talking about Steve Kress. He actually was killed in that parking lot. He was stabbed. How that guy died at Harpo's.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, and
that was the rough part of town, you know.
Yeah, he was actually shot, man. My good friend Tanya that I grew up with was, I don't remember Tanya, his girlfriend. Like she was super tight with me. We grew up together, and they're getting in his brand. He just bought a car. It wasn't even that super nice car or anything. He just remember because he was the manager at where we were working, and dude came up with a rifle and was like, "Give me your car," and he's like, "Yeah, I don't fucking think so." You know, and the dude shot him. You know what I mean? Like Harpo's is that whole, as far as like that neighborhood's like, that's the first real neighborhood to have like Bloods in it. You know what I mean? Like that was the East Side Bloods. That's like that whole neighborhood. It's like
a Bronx. In the 80s, definitely.
Yeah. Remember that dirt parking lot, man. Ugh.
Harpo's is rough, man. If you were getting into some shit in like Harpo's, especially in that back parking lot, cops rolled through, they'd just be like, "Yeah, good luck, dude, and keep going." Like, that's how it was.
All right, Rat. We'll talk to you soon, man.
All right, guys. Peace out, everybody.
Take care. There you go. The one, the only.
Yeah, Harpo's is rough, dude.
I remember going there with Biohazard, and like after every time there was a show there, there'd be like a brawl or a fight in the parking lot, you know?
Yeah, man.
Every time.
That's a rough one. It's a rough one.
Yep. One last thing. Joe Frank says, had a chance to chat with Jay a bit at Stoked for summer. The fact that you're out there with us and willing to hang with us is sick. Thank you, bro, and thank you for doing the show today. And I want to thank you for doing the show today. It was great.
No, thank you for having me, Drew. I'm a fan, you know? I'm a fan. Like I said, put some money in his Patreon. He does it. Yeah. He's up at 6.
They know, man. They know. You know, I'm really fortunate. People support me. I'm very, very fortunate, and I know it. Anybody you want to shout out on this Sunday shout out day?
No, man. Thank you for having me, Lion. Appreciate it. Very cool. Shout out to you.
My pleasure. And you're going to hear from me soon because we got to get John Brandon on the show.
Hey, I'll give him a call.
All right, man. Have a good night. All the best to you and your family, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Blessings.
Okay. Well, there you have it. Our guest today, Jay Navarro from the Suicide Kings. Excuse me. I'm tired. Oh, man. From the Suicide Machines. My voice is starting to give out again. It was a very good show. Thank you all. And yes, thank you all for supporting. Glad you enjoyed it. It was a great show. We got to get John Brandon on the show from Negative Approach, right? Yeah, it's a great show. Great guest, great show. Yes, he was really nice, Darren. Absolutely. We are fortunate. People love to come on the show because we have such a great thing going here. You know? Drew, this is my 10th utility bill. What does that mean? Get Jack White on. That's interesting. Jack White, huh? That could happen. Yeah, we got to get John Brandon on. We should get John Brandon on for our 200th show. He's like worthy of a 200th show, you know? Stephen Blush is coming on. Here we go. It's episode 174. It's soon. Sunday, January 30th. Here you go. Is Steve Blush. So there you go. Blush will be on relatively soon. We're going to talk some DC hardcore on this one because Blush came up going to college in DC. He promoted some early DC hardcore shows. Of course, he wrote the American Hardcore book, as well as he was involved in the film. So Blush is going to be good, you know. Dan Spitz. I don't know if Dan Spitz is, we had Scotty in, we had Danny Lilker, we had Frankie Bello, we had Charlie Benante. Do we really need Dan Spitz? You know? Is that really necessary at this point? But Jack White and John Brandon. Now John Brandon gets his own show, you know. Joe Frank, you love this one, huh? Drew, damn brother, this one is at the top from you, my man. Thank you. Good. This one was interesting for me because I didn't really know Jay before the show. He was introduced to me when he was having dinner at the Organic Grill by Vlad. Got to shout out Vlad at the Organic Grill for that one. Vlad's the one that said, hey, Jay Navarro's down here from the Suicide Kings. And I said, does he know the show? And he said, yeah, he loves the show. I said, ask him if he wants to come on. So I didn't really have a history with Jay. So did a lot of homework for this one. Yeah, Dan's out of the loop for 100. What are we going to talk about? Making watches? Dickie Barrett is an old friend of mine. Dickie Barrett can't come on the show. He's contractually involved with the thing he does in Hollywood. He's not at liberty to come on a show like this. Volt BMX, come on now. We're getting closer to the big Rick Thorne show, brother. You know? Thank you, Darren. Have a good week. So that said, we'll get maybe Rollins should be the 200 show. You know? Maybe Rollins, you know? All right, everybody. Well, thanks a lot. I will see you on Wednesday. Super excited. Mr. Peter Leeds is on the show. So until then, do good things and good things will come to you.